Group episode, arguably the highest revenue per square footage of table in the Indonesian region.
Yeah.
Got Jordan Hill, Jack Consalvi, and Adam Reed. Some big fucking names. Big names. Pod God, as he's more recently called. Wanted to do a group episode because, firstly, why the fuck not? But secondly, we got a load of questions from the audience, and I feel like answering Q&As is probably more valuable than just people shitting their life story for 2.5 hours, which you haven't done yet, but the other two now have. And I feel really bad because the episode we did with you was arguably the worst quality episode I've ever filmed. Yeah. So I feel bad that was your first foray into the Midnight Pod, and it looked like shit. So hopefully this episode sounds and looks better because we're in the beautiful Lighthouse Studios in Kerobokan, Canggu area. Is this Kerobokan or Canggu? I don't know, but Kerobokan sends a fucking shiver down my spine. We're probably going to wing it a bit. We've got loads of questions. Where do I want to start? So many questions.
Where they all come from? Twitter, Insta?
Twitter and Instagram. Both. I should have chosen where we'll start. We'll start with this. What's the realistic amount of money these days to start building a new e-com brand?
A brand or a store?
Well, I'll let you answer that and give context because they are different things. But I mean,
now, no idea for a store, but I think when we started, you could easily have done it with 50 quid, 100 quid if you're doing like the $5 a day ad set method. I don't know if it would be the same now.
I guess maybe a better way of asking that question is, how do you start with basically no money, and is it realistic to do so? And if your vision is to build a brand, which I think is what he's saying, can you start with like no money?
Should go around.
Yeah, right.
Because my view would be drop ship and then build a brand, but you can probably kind of do both at the same time.
You probably can do both, yeah. I think if you're going to drop ship and build a brand, you're going to do it both on the same URL. It's going to cause issues. I think you're better off drop shipping for the cash flow, using the cash flow to invest into the brand. Yeah, you can do it at the same time. But I also think there's a lot of people now professing about TikTok organic. I don't know if it's generating sales because most people are sharing sessions screenshots these days. But
yeah,
if it's generating sales, then you can do that, and you can basically bootstrap from zero, no ad spend. But then you also have, you got to pay for your product, your stock. If you're building a brand, you don't really want to be drop shipping.
I think everyone's always looking for like the fastest route though, and like going for the lowest. Like everyone wants a low entry point into business, and you got to realize that the competition is the highest there. So the more money you have, the quicker you'll get there. And if you start with no money, it's just going to be a slower journey, which is arguably like it's not as you're not going to get quick results.
Yeah.
So.
I feel like if you haven't actually got any cash, you're probably going to be low on like the skill as well, because obviously you're not going to have done it in the past. So my thing would probably be not start an agency, but just like run through courses and try and actually build up the skills, because that's what's going to be the second most in demand thing, like when you do start a business.
Yeah, true, because you're going to be doing everything. Because it's all well and good saying, you can run organic on TikTok, but you also have to get your website looking good. You have to design the logo. You have to do this. You have to do that.
Because if you don't have any cash, you're not going to have any money to get an agency in to do your paid ads. Like, you're probably best actually spending the time to begin with, like just building up your skills, and then like just basic stuff like just setting up a Shopify theme, so you're not having to pay for that. That's going to save you cash, and your money will go further.
But also, I think when you get around to hiring people, it's good to know what you're hiring them to do. Like, you need to know the task yourself before you can teach someone to do it. So
yeah, 100%.
I think what you're saying makes sense.
And e-com's like just such a trendy buzzword at the moment. I think if you have no money and you're looking to make money, it's better to learn a skill and then outsource that skill to other people. I think there's a very big window of opportunity for younger people teaching older people how to do shit. That's why SMA blew up, 3 years ago, and the kind of new wave. Not that it hasn't been said enough on Twitter, but ChatGPT I can see is like a fucking that's the new SMMA. Like, young guys, fucking 14-year-olds saying to some 50-year-old who runs a business, like, how can you implement this to take away some of the labor and decrease your costs?
Yeah.
Been rolling 2 minutes and ChatGPT's already been
I know, but
Keep speaking, because I'm not texting someone. I'm highlighting the questions so I know which ones we're actually going to use, because I got about fucking 200 of them.
Do you actually use it already in your business?
No, I'm trying to find ways I can, but I don't, not yet.
I'm using it, but mainly only for job postings. Nothing other than that. Yeah, it doesn't save too much time, but
what do you reckon the jobs that are going to go first? Because the main thing that everyone's saying is copywriters, but I think that probably, like, I actually saw a thing on Instagram. There's the first ever AI lawyer is defending somebody in court in America for a parking ticket. So I actually think it's probably going to be first copywriters, because chat is basically a text-based thing. But then also, I think that, and people are using it already, but drafting up like legal documents, privacy policies, like that kind of stuff. And then I think coding's a little bit different, because you have to like run code and it has to work. But I think the next thing is going to be like assisting developers in
I was going to ask you
fixing
that.
issues
Yeah.
with
So
code,
like,
yeah.
could you imagine, using it in your agency to like, because I actually saw a tweet, I can't remember who it's from. He said, write me code compatible with X that does a green flashing light. Did you see that? So like,
yeah. So I can see it. I think longer term, it's because there's even with AI, there's a lot of like design software out now, like DALL-E, which I got access to, and then there's another one like called Midjourney or something. I think probably it's going to be Figma designs are going to go first, like properly, or like assist with designers to create layouts. That's then going to then get put into chat to, or you know, an AI software to be developed. I think the hardest thing to overcome is going to be kind of what you do, like with your business, when it goes to, you're not just doing like layouts and very simple prompts and creating simple features on a website. It's going to be a lot more custom stuff, like really custom jobs, where you'll spend that long like trying to program chat to do it. It'll definitely come in 10 years. But
it'll come. I mean, we tried to build AI ourselves, like to replicate what we do, and so far we got close, but
you mean DALL-E?
not with DALL-E. Like built our own model.
Okay, fine.
But the data set we needed was massive anyway. But the output is not quite there. Well, it's not how I want it to be. It's very clearly, it's something. It looks like something you put into Photoshop and applied some like a range of different filters or actions. It's like, I wouldn't buy that. Yeah. And also for us, like, if you're doing custom stuff, you cannot get away from the fact you send it to your customer, they're going to notice something. They're going to want that mole on the back of their dog's head to be in the photo or something. Yeah. And it's like, okay, well, you still need a human to.
It's going to go one of two ways. Like, human designers might become more not in demand, but more expensive.
This is what I was
less
saying.
of them, and there's not going to be as many like low cost, low ball like designers, because you can just do it with AI. But I think probably, it might become more expensive to hire a human designer.
Don't know. Where there's merit, what I'm waiting for is and it might even exist, I don't know, but like the Zapier, whatever, integration with Gorgeous or something, so that, because I'm working really hard on like first response times at the moment. I think customer service is just such a big arm of the business that, you know, it represents you, and if you're getting customers in sub half an hour, like first response time, then that's amazing. And if you can do that with AI, just generating responses, because a lot of shit is like yes no answers. People are ask dumb questions, and it's easy for AI to generate that response and make the customer feel like you're there like straight away. So the moment you can do that, and like when your actual customer support representatives are offline, if AI can fill that space in, and you always keep like it won't even be sub half hour, it'd be like sub 2 minutes, you know, because you straight away.
Can Gorgeous not do something similar to that now?
Yeah, to be fair, maybe with some shit, but I don't think to the level that is like.
It's more like automated responses. And you set like you set the parameters of questions and answers. Yeah.
And there's so many conditions, like there's so many questions. I don't think you could physically have all the parameters to answer every single question, but AI could, because it's just input output, you know.
Yeah, just feed it your.
I want to bring it back to the Q&A.
All right.
Before we spend
first tangent.
ChatGPT.
Go on, let's go.
Also, watch that mic. I think you need to tilt it up a little bit more. Right. I'm the mic god. Quick fire question to fucking switch things up. It has to be like a 10-second answer. So I want to give people some context. How much did you spend on ads in the first month that you ever ran ads?
First month I ever ran ads.
And then compared to your biggest month?
20 whatever. Probably like 200 quid, 300 quid. I have no idea. This was like 5-6 years ago.
Yeah, same. Literally £10 a day.
Yeah.
Probably where you started.
Yeah.
How about you?
£50 a day.
That's some big budget,
dog.
that.
Jeez.
You come from money or what?
Started my overdraft, boss.
Yeah. I guess it's different for you. Did you run ads?
No, I did when I was running a Wix agency, but it was during COVID, and I think I put like 500 quid on, and I got like 800 leads back, but it's because there's such a big search volume for like
Mhm.
website designers at the time of
Mm.
COVID, because everyone wanted to do e-com
Mm.
and like move online. So that was pretty good, but you can't do that now.
And what's the most you've ever spent in a day on ads?
In a day,
Rough figure. To
Six-
illustrate the
six
comparison.
figures? In a day, yeah.
So 100 grand or 900 grand?
All right, like between 100 and 200k.
Yeah. How about you?
900k.
5 figures, not 6. But
Yeah, same.
yeah,
Like 30.
Do I get a medal for winning, or
You've definitely spent the most.
yeah.
I reckon I've topped like 30k.
what about with Neon Beach?
Probably, yeah. Black Friday or something.
Surely you spent more than that on
No.
Black Friday. No.
No.
Yeah, I suppose you had to turn your ads off.
Yeah. Not ideal. Right, there's a load of shit questions. There's also some pretty good ones. I don't know if these are going to be remotely in order. How to spot trends / new emerging markets. And I guess he's talking about ecom. I feel like you're going to have to set out a lot of this. Unless
Yeah,
you feel
no.
like... Well, you work with a lot of ecom brands, though. So
Yeah.
you have insight.
Provide the humour, mate.
But just quickly, like, my view on trends, I think it's the whole dropshipping mindset. Jump on a trend instead of build something you want to build. Do you know what I mean? Unless
Yeah.
I'm just retarded and
No, I
that's why
get
I'm
it.
not
Well,
fucking...
I think maybe you might agree with this, but I think
There's a
obviously
balance in there. So you want to get a
It-
trend, but also something that you can actually
It
build.
depends what space you're in. I think if you spoke to a few people that maybe are in fashion, obviously
Yeah.
it relies on trend forecasting and whatnot. I don't know if there's such a thing as a dropshipping winning product trend forecaster, but if there is, maybe go have a look at that. But we just started doing some like interior design, home decor trend forecasting to try to figure out, you know, where we can expand next for our product. But
Do you think reports are useful? Because I know you was mentioning the other day that you bought a report on something.
that marketing trend, I've not read it yet.
Yeah.
It was 163 pages, and
Yeah, fucking
Mm.
hell.
I'm not sure if it'll be useful. But
Yeah.
Yeah, I remember the days like just looking at Google Trends, like going on those drop shipping websites and just seeing all that shit. But like, funnily enough, the thing that I ended up doing didn't have anything to do with that. And I think it comes down to one, either having first movers advantage, and two, being the best at what you do. And if you can come in to something that already exists and be the best in branding, have the best product because you just upgrade what already exists and make that your own, then you have like a clear path of success, really. But like if you're not the first and it's shit, like you're either going to get a very small slice of a big pie. It's going to be a lot of competition. It's only going to get harder. CPAs are going to increase, and you're eventually going to like self-destruct.
Yeah,
You know, it's
always
just
on the back
it's
foot.
just not. It's not going to go well unless you improve.
yeah, you don't necessarily need to know how to spot trends. You can look at what's working and improve one element of that. I think
Yeah,
Greta Van
in
Riel
my
spoke about
course,
this years
which I'm
ago.
plugging again here, I actually said there's 3 ways to start a brand. I think it's so true. You either solve a problem, that's one way of looking at it, which may or may not have been solved already, but in that case, probably not solved already. You make something better, so you can always win by just going into a crowded market and making it better. It's just
Mhm.
hard to make it better. Or you apply a new angle to something. For
Yeah.
example, instead of sportswear, you've now got brands like Tala doing vegan sportswear,
Mm.
like ethically made sportswear.
It doesn't even need to be
So
the
they've
product.
gone into a
though.
massively crowded market and just
Or
applied a
save
new
people money.
niche.
Which arguably plays on the trending
Yeah.
angle of veganism.
Because I think
right
so many
now,
people
you
say
know?
everything's crowded. Well, it is. Everything's crowded
It's
and
not a
always
bad
will be.
thing. It's not a bad thing, but it doesn't
But it's
need
not
to be
if you
the product
apply
that you
that
change.
thinking to it.
If you look
Yeah.
at what Greta did with the 5th watches, it's a fucking watch at the end of the day.
Yeah.
But did they release 5 watches on the 5th
That
of
was
the
their
month every
angle. It
month?
was
And it's like, this is
exclusivity.
how we're going to make this different. It's not like the watch is a watch. Can't
Mm.
really change it, but the way they marketed it and the brand was what they changed, and it worked really well.
Did you, when you started your business, I know yours is, but did you come up with the idea from like an area of passion, or was you specifically looking for somewhere you think there's an open market where you can make some money? Because at the minute, obviously, I'm on about starting a new brand, like we've been discussing it this holiday, but like mine's purely passion, and you know that means for the long term I'll enjoy it, even if it's not super profitable and doesn't make a lot of money. So was yours like I'm trying to find somewhere I can make a lot of money, or was it like I'm really interested in this area and just wanted to create something?
It's a good question. Not passion for sure. I mean,
You'd be like dogs.
I like dogs, but I'm, you know, all right. Yeah, look,
I like dogs.
yeah, exactly. We all like dogs.
Yeah.
Yeah, but you've got a pet print brand. That's what I mean.
Yeah, but I didn't start it because like
Your
The-
dog
the number
asks
one
if
thing
he
in
can
my
be put
life
up
is,
on the wall.
yeah.
He said, Dad,
Yeah.
make a Renaissance version of me.
yeah.
Did you get your dog before the brand or not?
After,
Oh, fair.
in fact, I did a video shoot in
You
20.
bought him as an in-house model.
I nearly did. I was gonna set him up on Instagram, and I thought, no, I'm not putting.
I
it
could
through
do that with Ophis.
No, I did a video shoot, and with this firm in Manchester. They were really good, and they were like, "Oh, bring your dog." I was like, "I don't have a dog." Like, what the fuck? Like, you don't have a dog and you're running this brand? Like, that's a bit weird. I was like, "Is it?"
I don't think it's weird.
No.
It's definitely better.
But yeah, to answer the question, it was more money because I wanted to fund like lifestyle and be free and all that stuff.
So my dad, like, this is funny, quick story. So he actually was selling fishing bait into stores, and he became
just
like
loves maggots.
no, it was like boilies and stuff like that, and he was basically drop shipping from I think it's like Hungary or something, not touching the product and then shipping it into stores. And I think he was doing the most units out of any like fishing brand in the UK because it was on such volume into like high street stores. Never been fishing in his life. Like literally, we had to figure it out. Like
fucking anything.
yeah.
There's a good term that I like called Icky Guy. It's a Japanese term for like the combination of passion, opportunity, and something else. But basically, it's what I think everyone should strive for. And I feel like I've finally got it with like the whole mushroom thing, but it took like years and years of working out. Basically means like, what can I actually make money from? What do I like? And what does the world need or some shit? And it's like the ultimate combination of passion and opportunity.
I think as well.
Not everyone's going to get there, but that's like the North Star, I think.
And the passion doesn't necessarily have to be for the product itself.
Yeah.
It can be for the. It's so cringe, but it's true. Like for the love of creating, because I think we're similar in that. Like
Jordan says that about gleaming.
Creative pursuit of like,
get him on the pod.
You know, making shit. I love the ad side. Like I just love making the content and like seeing it go viral. It's like I fucking strategized it, put it together, put it out. That's the process I love. Like not necessarily the product, but like,
yeah, I'd agree with that 100%.
I also think as well, this is like a side topic, but I just find it baffling how many dons on like Twitter and all these fucking no shit cunts that talk a big game, but no one's ever said what they actually do.
Yeah.
They seem to all be in the game of I want to make enough money to never have to work again. But then I think they're missing the point of how bored would they be if that hypothetically was the case. So then you should probably work on something that you would do for free anyway. And then it comes back full circle to like, we should probably work on that now then.
Yeah.
And a good question to ask yourself is, what would you do if you had £1 billion in the bank? You wouldn't be sat on a beach. You might think you would. You might do that for a month
days,
or a week. And then what
I'd
would
probably
you do?
just do this, what we've been doing for the past 10 days.
Yeah, exactly. So then that's a good sign that you're probably doing something similar.
Yeah, my life probably would not
I can
change
literally
much.
this has been like the perfect trip. I feel like perfect balance.
So I was speaking to Jimmy about it.
Minus barley belly, but
Yeah.
And it's like he wants to do something else. I mean, we'll do an episode with him in a few days' time. But it's an interesting question to ask yourself. What would you do if there were no limitations financially on anything?
Business-wise, I don't know exactly what it is that I'd be doing, but lifestyle-wise, it'd be very similar to what we've been doing for the past 7
I'd
years.
just have a few more cars and shit.
Common theme with the sun. I feel like it's definitely some, element of, what is it? Is it not seasonal affective?
Yeah.
Yeah.
It is.
Yeah,
It's
but
sad.
I don't feel like I'm depressed.
I get that
in
massively.
London. Like, I'm not depressed in London
I
from
am.
no sun, but like I'm noticeably happy.
Maybe not depression, but it's like an indifference to a lot of shit. Just indifferent.
Yeah,
Just numb.
Then we have the comparison now because we've done Dubai, Bali, London, and I look back at London, going back to London, I'm kind of fucking scared to think how shit it's gonna be. I mean, don't get me wrong, I love London, but
I am definitely leaning towards not being in London at all in winter now. I think finally the straws broke the camel's back. Like the past 4 months, it's so shit. It's
Really
not even more productive. It's not even more productive. You definitely have better ideas when you're fucking caffeinated and sunburnt.
Yeah, I think company and weather are just the two main things.
Company is very
because
important.
if like you could come here solo, I don't think it'd be as good.
I mean, you would meet people very quickly though.
Yeah,
especially if you're on Twitter and so on.
Yeah, but
not
the sort of person you meet, I'm not like being a dick about it, but it might be like, teach me how to run an ad, teach me how to do this, teach me how to do that.
Or they're like Canva freelancers or some shit.
Yeah, I do like the whole fucking nomad meme. It's like Dons are in Bali because they just can't afford to be in the West. It's quite deep, but yeah, there is a bit of that. All right, next question.
Bali's not that cheap as well.
No,
like
it's
in
not.
some areas, but some areas are.
I
Especially
thought
like
it was
London.
pretty cheap.
But no, so we've had one dinner that was, maybe for context, just for people listening, we had 2 steaks, 2 drinks, and that was £29, which was kind of fucked. That was my first Bali's way cheaper.
That's not even as cheap as it used to be though.
Really?
That is cheap compared to London.
But then other places, it's like
what was it?
£10 a drink, and that's like
Kong.
London. So, huh?
Wasn't that Kong like 600 quid for 6 people?
Is that with Crips?
Yeah, when I came right in.
No, that was 2.
That's London price.
No, that was 500. Yeah.
There's been a
100
few
quid each.
places that we've been to that have been like UK prices, isn't there?
It's because they've realised there's a demand.
Yeah, you're not.
Yeah,
not
but they're
gonna
going to
pay,
put
are you?
people off.
Like, everyone's
the whole,
paying
the
that.
whole reason people come to Bali is because it's like, it's cheap, digital nomad, I'm going to live here and do fuck all.
But our accommodation as well is like not cheap. I think
Yeah,
it's
but it was-
overpriced because of the time.
It
but-
was the last one available
Yeah.
for New Year's Eve, so that's probably why.
Mm.
If I was the owner, I'd be doubling my prices too.
Yeah, true.
All right, another question following on from that, which I've tweaked slightly because it's a stupid question. How do you find fulfillment and continued motivation when money isn't, like, desperation to make money isn't the driving force? Obviously, you always want to make more money or whatever, but like
That's a
when
good
you
question.
when you've passed that need to just quit your job or whatever, and I think it kind of relates to what I just said about doing
Yeah.
something you would do for free anyway. But what do you think?
Well,
Specifically?
you obviously need, if money can't be a reason why. I think it's stupid because it just never ends. I want to make $1 million, you make $1 million. I'm not happy anymore. I want to make 10 million. Probably make 10 million. You won't be happy then. It's just a never-ending, like, chasing the carrot type thing.
And then once you become aware of that carrot,
Do
Yeah.
you know what Milan? Shout out Milan. He tweeted,
he's a
not-
wise don.
if you're not happy sipping your coffee, you're not gonna be happy on your yacht. You know,
I read that.
Mm.
it's like it's
Sick,
so
man.
true. Like if you're not, you gotta fucking enjoy the little things, and then you can upgrade. Like definitely take that progressive aspect of life.
Well, I do feel like probably if you did grow a business to a certain size, and you've had enough of it, and you've got all this money, I'd probably go into doing more charity work because I feel like that would give you a lot of fulfillment
Mm-hmm.
and like
Mm.
actually helping people.
Yeah, tipping some of the guys out here who were capped. What is it? They're capped on £300 a
Yeah.
month. Or
So
something.
I think somebody told me basically the government set like a limit on how much like certain people can earn in certain jobs.
I have to fact check that.
Well, we'll have
That's
to fact check
yeah.
that one.
Yeah, but
Yeah.
I think that's all well and good, but I think a lot of people that probably, I don't know if that this sort of person listens to the podcast, but I think a lot of people, their goal is money. They think their goal is money, and you suggest, oh, you should go into charitable work. You'd be like, no, fuck off. I'm buying a supercar.
No,
I'm
I
buying a
think,
watch."
Yeah.
I think the important point there, and tell me what you think on this, I think you have to make a bit of money to taste it for yourself, whether it's just enough to buy your first stupid car like I did or whatever, you know, get a nice flat. Because I think the difference between like being a student or living with your parents and making a bit of money is way, way bigger than the difference between a bit of money and 100 million. Because from the outside it looks
Yeah.
the same. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Even though we all know it's not.
But there is a graph though on happiness
Yeah, exactly.
versus how much money somebody's earning.
And it ends very quickly.
in like 50 grand, and then
Yeah, so it's to 50 grand. There's a big jump from like 20 to 50k. Then from 50 to 100, there's another like quite sizable jump.
What month or year?
Yeah, but then I think
Come
that
on.
to
Think
million
about
it's
the
like
averages.
tiny bit, but then
Yeah.
past a million, like it just
Nothing.
basically flatlines at one point.
yeah. But thing is, like, I think you can tell people that as many times as you want, but they will not believe
But
you
that's what I'm saying.
until they've
They
done
have
it.
to
have
try
it,
it. a
And
little
they'll be
bit.
like, fucking hell, Jordan Hill, wise guy.
It's crazy as well what most people assume. Like, if they look at as you said, you look from the outside in, it looks like the lifestyle is so much more expensive than it actually is.
Yeah,
When in reality, it's a mixture of leveraging Amex points to get free flights,
yeah,
spending like in Bali, it's obviously cheaper than being in Dubai. Dubai is fucking expensive, and you know, I wouldn't say it's. I don't know. That's another conversation. But yeah, how much would you say you need monthly to live from country to country, working abroad, doing most things you like enjoying the fine
$5
things?
grand, I reckon, is a
Say
fair round
fi-
$5
number.
grand a month.
5 to
Yeah.
7.
Even in London.
after tax.
Well, I think
10 in
the
London.
difference in
Yeah.
London is you don't go out as much,
Right.
because
yeah,
whereas in Bali you can probably go out all the time and still spend less in London. But if you went out
Mm.
all the time in Dubai, twice the price of London.
Right.
I think another point on the whole money thing though, like society is conditioned to measure success based on money. And like income is money, and like richness is money. But like you said to me, and it's so true, no one talks about time freedom, location freedom, creative.
Rich in
Think
other
of it as
ways.
like another element of richness.
Yeah, yeah.
Because
Yeah.
like if you can make 50 grand a year from a laptop doing something you love, living where you want,
Mhm.
that's better than making 500 grand a year doing 18 hours a day in the city, I
yeah,
think.
yeah.
Because also you
But
don't
it's
know,
your network as well. I think you're rich in like probably out of most of us because of the podcast, are rich in network as well. And I think you probably wouldn't. Well, I might be wrong, but you probably wouldn't trade your network and the people you have around you and like doing shit like this and going on holiday with like people you get on with. You probably wouldn't trade where you're at now, making what you're making with that environment for making 10 times more a year, but you're probably on your own.
no, I wouldn't.
Exactly. So you're
But
rich
it's
in
funny
other
because
ways.
people don't basically only ever use money as the tracker of richness or wealth, whatever it
Just 'cause
is.
it's the easiest. It's
But
just
no
the
one talks
default,
about
right?
health, lifestyle,
Mm.
location freedom, time freedom, network. enjoyment,
Mm.
when actually they're all as relevant to make like a net richness or whatever the fuck you want to call it.
Mm.
Do you know what I mean?
I think
No,
when,
you're
when
right.
you get to one of them as well, you start to focus on the others more. So like when you get a bit of a taste of money, then you start to focus more on your health and stuff like that.
That's
Like
true, yeah.
I think gym, for especially I know for us two, it's like a massive part of non-negotiables. After every session, you always feel good, and it's just a part of the
Had two
routine.
shit sessions past 2 days.
Yeah, you still went.
Sunstroke and then a hangover.
Mm.
Yeah.
Still went though. Yeah.
That is right though, because like in COVID, when I was sort of having my come up, like health, just even though people are doing like home workouts, just put it on the back burner.
Mm.
But then now it's like actually, I have a little bit more money, but now I'm taking time out in the daytime to go to the gym and like blocking
You're
out.
definitely
days.
not. 'Cause I asked you to come like
Just
past
gonna
2
say
days.
that.
Every single day.
I have
me
been on
come to
holiday.
gym.
He smokes his fucking
Don't
Coca-Cola
expose me.
vape and laughs at me.
Don't expose me. No, but when I'm at home, because I have fucking nothing else to do anyway. But here's a lot more
Funny.
distractions.
Funny.
Right, next question. Bit of a boring one, but probably quite relevant. Main things to systemize and automate ASAP in an econ business.
Customer service.
Oh my god, that was the.
There's one person we're speaking about, I'm not going to name, who needs to do that.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's just
Customer
like
service.
absolute no-brainer. I remember honestly at the start.
I think it's the absolute
spend
first one.
4 hours a day, like in the very starting phase. And I feel like you have to, or you do have to go through it because you're the one who makes, and this is very like basic level one shit, but you make all the templates to then give to the customer service reps who join you. So it's like you
Mm.
have to go through it, become a jack of all trades, learn every single department. So if in the start, in the worst case scenario that one of your hires drops out, you can fill in because you know there's gonna be emergency moments and you might have to do that.
You don't even have
But-
to do. You don't have to make the templates yourself. Like, you can probably hire a very competent, very experienced
Yeah.
manager and just be like, "Look, I've got a lot of shit coming in. Can you just log in, figure out the issues, figure out how to answer it?"
I'm thinking more
here."
from like low cost thing because like you'd have to hire someone to do that if you had no money.
Yeah, if you just
If you had no
start, you
money.
get a
Yeah.
VA.
Yeah,
Like-
that's what I'm saying.
Yeah.
And
Like, just like I've got some people I could probably start a new business tomorrow. It could be totally unrelated to anything I've ever done. I could be like, "Hey, just manage the customer support. No idea what people are going to ask. Here's the login.
Yeah.
Do it for a week."
That's a good person, though.
Yeah, she's great.
Yeah.
Mm.
But yeah, pretty rare.
After customer service, anything else? I think a next obvious one is media buying. 'Cause I think way too many founders stick on that way too long.
Mm.
even me, I put it off for ages.
Do you know
Yeah,
what? I
but
think
again, you definitely have to understand it yourself.
I think that's
Yeah.
because
Or
like
maybe you don't, but I would probably say you should.
most courses, I mean, back when we started, it was like
They are ads
How to-
courses.
how to
They're
scale
not
ads
business
to-
courses.
$1 billion. It's like,
Yeah.
and then you identify yourself as I identified myself as the media buyer for way too long. And I actually I remember speaking to Taylor Holiday at CTC before I signed up with them. I'm not with them anymore, and I was saying, I'm unsure about this. Like, this is what I do every day. Like, I don't know what I'd be doing. He was like, "No, you're the CEO. Like, your job is to build the company. Your job's not to be running the
You're the
ads."
conductor, not the violinist.
Exactly. So he's a
Yeah.
wise guy.
Yeah, I would say customer service, ads, and then the next thing would be fulfillment. That's a controversial one. Because I think,
Can't relate.
because of print on demand.
Mm.
But it is good, obviously, to have like different experience within different aspects of your business. But then, like within the Shopify industry, there's a lot of scamming going on, like particularly around like pricing of projects and stuff. Like, but that you as a brand owner, it's probably one of the hardest things. You don't know how to code. You don't know how long stuff takes. You get a little bit of an inkling, like you'll know from doing so many different projects. But there is a hell of a lot of scamming out there. Because that is kind of one area that you have to spend years to even know how to.
I've been scammed. I
actually
got
do it,
scammed
yeah.
probably last year, mate. Like,
Well,
Yeah,
from
I know.
a project,
from just web
dev
dev,
project,
yeah.
really.
Yeah.
Yeah. Like we've just done a project for, I think it was like 6K we charged, and the agency that spoke to you before were charging 40K for the exact same
That
thing.
was. You sure that wasn't me?
Oh mate, I've heard of some
Yeah.
ridiculous website change stories where they spend like 60 grand on a new site,
It's
publish
just
it.
template.
That
Does
you're
shit,
both literally
revert.
talking about me. I swear down.
Yeah, mate.
Mate,
Yeah.
yours is worse than that.
I've told you, haven't I?
Yeah,
It
yeah.
kind of makes
Way
sense
worse
though.
than that.
Like you make a
Name no
drastic
names.
change to the site, like the whole navigation is different. So
Mm.
yeah, the algo hates it, and customer journey is just different. It's just a relearning phase, but haven't done that yet with mine. I think graphics are most important. But
Mm.
yes,
Got another one to outsource.
Go on.
Taxes, sales tax, VAT. Get it sorted. I'll get someone to sort it, but no one talks about it.
Yeah.
Yeah, true. I think just you kind of
Your
need to know
P&L
your numbers
just-
yourself,
yeah.
really. Like just being as granular as possible. Even to this day, like every 3 months, I'll find something. I was like, oh shit, how did I not have that in? And you just keep adding. Like the more granular, the better. And there's just so many small saving points that actually make a massive difference when you extrapolate it out 12 months.
Yeah, my fucking fulfillment center came back last week and said they've been charging me 50p too much for every single shipment since May.
Really?
Yeah, my brother
And they
audited
refunded me 12
like
grand.
our invoices
UK
for one of
shipment.
our suppliers, and he was like, Adam,
Yeah.
they've been charging us like the non-discounted pricing for like 3 months. I
We've
was like,
seen the
"Fuck."
people.
But it was my fault. I don't know how I didn't notice that. It's just fucking stupid.
I think one of the biggest things this year that's been kind of crazy is some of my founder roles have changed to be like more focused on payment terms, how to save money in different areas. Even we were talking earlier, like if you're selling internationally, like some of the FX fees are fucked. Like there's such big room.
I spent 100 grand on FX fees in 2020 without even realizing it because I was so keen on getting points. That's how
Yeah.
stupid I
yeah,
fucking was.
same.
I was putting all USD through Amex, not realizing they charged a fucking conversion fee
Yeah.
because I wanted
Yeah.
the points.
Should have got a USD card.
Didn't even think.
Yeah.
Just retarded.
But yeah, quick tip.
Ah, fuck.
If you're selling internationally, let's say like your UK company selling mainly to US, have your site in the default currency, like where your audience are from, because Shopify's margin is like 1.5%, and it adds up so much. And you can avoid that and just pay the FX rate fee from whoever you're connected with. But yeah,
And it's all out.
yeah. It'll still be a little charge, but it's not 1.5. Save 6 figures for sure.
People always do this thing, like I've seen a lot of it on Twitter recently, but it's cancel your cards, and then you'll realise how much SaaS you actually spend.
Yeah,
Or like how much stuff
seen
you're
an
paying
agency
for.
owner tweet about that today.
Yeah,
I was
yeah.
like, don't know whether to do that or not. Like, I'm
Like-
not sure to be asked with the admin.
Every quarter, they say. And then
Why do you cancel your card though? Can you not just
no,
Check
'cause-
what you're paying
no,
for.
'cause
yeah, and
especially
then
if
go
you've got
cancel the
staff.
subscription?
Uh,
Like, especially if you've
Ah.
got staff that are using stuff and you've got like a big team, it's like they'll message you saying the payment's stopped, and then you actually put it in because you know that that's being used. But then there's probably a lot of stuff that staff
Right.
have like asked for the card for, you're paying for every month.
Is it not just a lazy way of going through and auditing like these are
Yeah,
my
yeah, it is.
subscriptions?
Yeah.
Basically, yeah.
Just go on Xero or QuickBooks and look at
Cancels
your
everything.
yeah.
But then you don't have to ask like who's
Do you-
using this.
Do you go through statements every month or not?
I don't, but someone does. And then he sends me a list of like, what's this for? What's this for? What's this for? Anything that's
Ah.
new.
Yeah.
And then at the end of every year, he'll like send me a list of these are all
Flame
your
Spa Seminyak. What's this?
these are all your software.
I was getting that
subscriptions.
question next week.
Yeah, you are.
Okay,
And
now
so-
Google search volume spikes.
Yeah. I'll just overflow that entire place.
Great restaurant.
You need a fucking
Yeah. Good restaurant, wasn't it?
Really good
referral
restaurant.
code.
Yeah.
Matt Husius.
Yeah, I want an affiliate link for that
Jesus.
shit.
You're making more from that than the pod.
That's a great fucking business. I got loads of fucking questions. I feel like some of them are really boring because like actual business shit, which can't be fucked speaking about, but I'm gonna ask them anyway. Best lean team structure for like a kind of bedroom brand that's growing. It's kind of similar to the question we just asked. Like, what's the first people you should
Best
hire?
lean team structure. How lean do you want? Like 3 people? 4
Well, because I always find it weird when people say like who's on your team, but you don't really like so many fucking agencies and shit. They're like core teams, like 4 people, but if you actually count the agencies and 3PL, it's probably like 20 people that work on the business. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
true.
I think it's interesting actually that everyone around this table is completely fully remote. Like no one here actually has an office.
It's yeah.
I think that's the better question. Remote versus office versus in between.
So
Because it's something I
Have you
debate
done
all the
office?
time.
no.
Ah, yeah,
So I think probably in office there's a lot more communication stuff, and there is a lot to be said for like communicating in that way. So you're not having to jump on calls all the time. Sometimes it's information just gets passed around a lot better. But for cost saving, you just can't beat it, and you can spend that money on employee happiness. Because if you actually put it down to like per square foot, like desk rent rates, if you wasn't like just in like a small co-working space, the cost of having an office is actually probably much higher than you realise. Yeah,
I think I could probably build a bigger business quickly if I had an office and everyone
Yeah.
was like here, but I wouldn't
Yeah.
be as happy as I am now.
but I think
So-
employees as well don't actually realise how expensive it is to have the office. So like in a co-working space I was in, it was £400 a desk,
Mm.
and then if you're paying someone 20 grand a year, that's like an extra nearly 5 grand on top of the wage, which they don't realise. Whereas you could actually just take that money and put that into hiring a better person or employee happiness and that kind of stuff. But
Yeah, I just think the world's changed, hasn't it?
Yeah.
Everyone's still trying to figure out what the best balance is.
Grass is always greener, though, isn't it? Like
Yeah.
I've been thinking the past few months, oh, if I had an office, I could do this, I could do that. Be like communication would be so much faster. We could spin stuff out way easier.
Mm.
But then I guarantee that if I set that up and I invested the amount of money you're talking about investing in like a in-person setup and getting the in-person staff, 3 months down the line, I'd be like, absolutely fuck this. Like, get rid of it all.
And also, do you think you'd feel the pressure to go into the office?
I was just
Yeah,
about to say,
and I'd feel very guilty right now. And I know some people, when they go traveling or whatever, they do not post on social media whatsoever because they feel guilty about their team at home.
Yeah, fuck that.
because then
It's your business though. Like, you built it. Like,
Yeah.
and if they're jealous of this or that, it's like, well, build something yourself and go do it. I don't know.
Yeah, it's hard.
there's definitely a transition as a founder. Like when the bigger your team gets, the more of a responsibility you have to like actually motivate. Because one of the biggest things I learned is you need everyone to be on the same page about what the vision is. Like you can bottle up a lot of stuff and assume that any new hire is going to get what you get.
Yeah.
But until you actually tell them and you all have the same North Star, you're all collaborating on to the same goal, that's what speeds shit up. I think a lot of people just hold that back, and there's not enough clarity on what the roadmap is.
Yeah.
I think it's important as well. Like, that's something I've been really, really bad at until maybe earlier this year. Communicating, this is what we're trying to build. This is where we're at now, and this is your role in it now. But this is what we're trying to build, and this is why your role is important in the journey to achieving this vision.
I think giving employees a voice as well, because like you may just think that your idea is always the best, but there always is better ways around certain things. And like, because they're actually working in specific areas of the business all the time, they may come up with ideas that you don't.
Oh yeah, I think it's hard. I think the culture of, the countries that you're probably hiring is also difficult for them to understand that, oh, I can be outspoken, I can provide ideas, I can tell my boss that he's been an idiot. I'm very clear with, if any of my team listen to this, they'll know that I'm talking about them, because even 2 days ago I was on a call, I was like, right, we need to start using this, and one of my staff was like, do you want me to help you with that, or are you good? I was like, the answer to that. Like, I'm useless with that. You know how to do this. Like, just help.
One of the biggest realizations in business is like, one of them for me is like how much of a people game it is when you get at scale, because the moment you get your first A player, it's like actually the best feeling. You're like, holy shit. Like when you have, so like you have to be an A player yourself. When you have 2 A players, it's like, fuck, they can do something I can't. And then you have 3, then it's like 4, 5, 6. And that's
Like,
when
it should be
Here's a
better than you,
question.
though.
Here's a question. How do you know if you have an A player on your team or not? Maybe
The
they're
biggest
like,
thing for
in
me
the shadows.
is not having to follow up on things. It's done.
Yeah.
Like, I don't have to check anything. It's already done.
Yeah.
That's the biggest difference. And I've had shit people in the past.
Yeah.
Now I've got a few good people. Everyone.
What
now
if
is
it's
good.
like very basic tasks that they're doing without being checked on? Are they still an A player, or A players like high level tasks, like complex stuff?
Well, I think everything on time and everything as it should be, and then planning and initiative. That's kind of going above and beyond.
Yeah, that's it. Above and beyond, superstar, they're all the same kind of terms that
Over deliver. Like, there's such a fucking problem.
And do
like,
you think there is,
with shit people?
because I know like probably the most popular place people will hire in is probably the Philippines. Do you think there are more A player type people in other countries that people perhaps should be looking at hiring VAs from? I think that's.
I don't have anyone from the Philippines anymore, but it's,
All right.
I mean,
But I mean, most people who are starting, they're probably looking
I've
towards
heard
that way.
for operations, Colombia is pretty good. But like, I haven't gone down that route. It depends what kind of structure you want.
I feel like in the Philippines specifically, like a lot of people do go with the mindset that they're going to try and save as much money as
that's
possible.
definitely the starting point.
Yeah.
But I think like actually double what your original budget was, and you could get those like really, really, really good people.
Where
There-
from?
Within
Eastern
even
Europe
within the
broadly, it's
Philippines,
pretty good.
Yeah.
like people do go just as naturally, just trying to get the cheapest possible work they can. But actually, you're going to get a lot more for your money in that country. It's still the same. So if you do go with like, pay $1,000, $2,000 a month to somebody over there, that's why you're going to get these like proper sick people who
So-
just naturally take things off your plate.
A good exercise is going on blue chip companies or massive companies on LinkedIn, just scrolling through their employees, seeing where they're from.
Yeah.
Like,
Good shot.
what's their structure?
Do you think that's all a facade though? Because I've heard people say like, oh, you need all UK people for your UK company if you want to ever build to sell all this. Or is that just
maybe
is that
maybe
just
10
aged
years
view?
ago.
Nah.
Well,
I now think LinkedIn is a bad place to hire people almost. I feel like Twitter's better.
Yeah,
Yeah.
Two of the people that
probably-
work with me
yeah,
now message me on Twitter.
Yeah.
That's how we got to know each other.
You're about to get a lot of DMs, mate. Shouldn't have said that.
Yeah, but like, I don't know. Like, what's changed, isn't it?
Nah,
LinkedIn
yeah, right.
feels like the
LinkedIn
university
is just-
equivalent versus like
I
online
fucking
education.
hate LinkedIn. I
Mm.
hate it. It's just
There's a lot of people with big titles.
9 to 5.
Yeah.
Here's your new shiny job title. You're not doing much, but you sound like you are.
Yeah. The amount of spam
Exactly,
you get
like
as well.
fucking
It's
vice
shit.
president
Do you know,
of something.
Yeah,
I
it's like,
heard
fuck you doing?
as expensive as they are, a lot of people that I've spoken to have had exits, and like I've just talked about like what was the source and everything, and in creating a good team, and recruitment agencies were a big part of it.
I worked with one in the past. It was a horror show.
Really? Yeah, I guess it depends who you work with then, but like maybe for specific roles like growth roles or whatever, like you do get
Yeah.
guys. Because the thing is, they have intel on who wants to leave companies.
Mm.
You don't get that intel on LinkedIn because you're trying to poach and shit. But they
Yeah, I
don't.
think for like important, like managerial shit, that's probably the right way to go. Yeah.
I think it's going to niche recruitment companies. So like if you was hiring a marketing role, go specific to them, and then there'll be like operational roles because when they're like feeding through people, they need to have knowledge on what's good, what isn't. Do you know what I mean? Whereas
Yeah.
they're not just like checking CVs for you.
Do you know what I struggle with when it gets to like hiring people like that? It's like I don't know what I don't know about that role.
Exactly.
Like
Yeah.
what does the job? Who am
What
I
does
actually
it
looking
aim
for? What am I actually looking for them to do here? Like
Mm.
because if I just give them a list of shit that I've been doing, it may well be that they look at it like, well, that's gonna last me an hour a day. What do you want me to do the other 7 hours a day? I'd be like, the
Yeah.
fuck, like
I think that's why you say, like, this is the problem. How do we solve it? And they come back to you and tell you what the solution is. Because as
Mm.
you say, you don't know what you don't know.
mm,
So that's how you see if they're filling in the gaps that
Right.
you have in your company. And this is from conversations I've had with like fucking big boys.
Okay.
So that's the tips I
that's
got.
one thing I always think when I'm hiring like high level. I'm like,
Yeah.
what do I actually need them to do here? Like
Mm.
it's
Yeah, like I would really like someone just to run the business.
right.
What
Right.
CEO or what? What's your ideal role? Like creative director?
I don't want to do anything that isn't product and brand, basically. And that's
Yeah.
basically everything
So
I
that's
do right now. is
that's
the
like
opposite
kind
of
of head of growth, head of fucking creative. I don't know.
Probably call
Surely
him, like, a
brand
COO.
includes like communications, and some of those emails need to be approved. That poem was ChatGPT special. I think.
that. Yeah, probably, but that's 'cause I'm spending so much time fucking dealing with supply chain
Yeah.
and all that bullshit.
Why don't you get a supply chain manager? Do you reckon that could be?
I mean, Florian's going to start doing that. He does customer service now. It's a fucking beast. If
Mm.
he's listening.
So you got
probably
one.
is.
You got one. Yeah. Customer service rep.
Yeah.
Mad.
But he's
First
not
person
full
we
time
hired,
either.
Ah,
He's just solid. And he came from the pod. He worked for free for a month, over delivered,
yeah.
and now he's fucking.
The over deliver thing is so because I remember. You know,
So many people under deliver. It pisses me off. So when you see someone like the one I'm thinking of, that fucking actor, still chasing me
Oh
up.
yeah.
Deliver the goods and I'll pay you. You haven't delivered them.
Yeah. It was. Yeah. I think we can all agree it was.
Just
Yeah.
I don't know. Like, has fucking TikTok culture just made people shit at their jobs?
Maybe yeah. UG seeing like this is how much we expect to be paid for a 30-second video and.
or
to
it's
extract
one.
as much
It's
money.
one like leader of that niche saying you can get more money for this, and then they're
Yeah.
like, yeah.
Yeah,
And
exactly.
everyone's
I
like,
hate
Yeah, and then
that
someone
shit.
makes
It's
a course
entitled.
about how
Yeah.
to double your prices, and then lo and
Yeah.
behold, that's the new
Yeah.
floor. It's like-
corrupts the industry. Like
I could go on a rant about this.
we won't.
The whole entitlement from like certain freelancers and creators that think because you're a brand owner, you're a fucking billionaire sitting on a yacht that's
I
never
think-
worked.
There's a lot of that in copywriting and email stuff as well.
What overpriced or?
No, like a lot of courses that are just like basically how to extract as much money as possible from a brand
Yeah, I
owner.
can
do
imagine.
good work. Do good work.
Probably what
and I'm
every
happy to
agency
pay
owner's
for it.
doing, including you.
Well, yeah, it's the aim of the game, isn't it? Everyone, like every business owner, is obviously thinking about how. Same with AOV with us. How are we going to get more money out of the customers who buy in the store? You know, they buy.
Yeah, but I
cheap.
think you more liking what you just mentioned. You're more liking that for us. It's like cost saving. Like, how can I renegotiate this with my supplier? Or how do I lower my wages or shit like that?
Yeah,
That's what I would liken to the agency. How do we pull more cash out of our clients?
yeah,
Whereas like what you're talking about is, well, it's nicer, isn't it?
yeah. I mean, there's so many ways to do it.
Mm.
But
Next question.
I feel like there's loads of questions I'm coming up with on the back of questions. How to find a good supplier?
Trial and error, simple. Like
Yeah, that's a long one. I suppose initially people would go to China. That's kind of where you
I'll
usually
tell-
start.
Some of the OG methods were Facebook groups, surprisingly or not, going to Depeche Mandelia's group, OG. We used to go there, you'd say like, you'd literally post any, looking for a supplier for, I don't know if you, I can't remember if I said the product or not. This is for a different thing. And you get a load of messages come through. Obviously do your due diligence in Facebook Messenger, back and forth, get a good price. The main thing is literally messaging 15 suppliers, finding out each of their quotes, and then playing their prices against each other. So if you go with the first one, you just
Would you say
And then samples
when you
as
hire
well.
when you source it from China, is it worth hiring a sourcing agent to help you as well, or not?
Oh, actually, I would, but it's difficult because the structure
get the
it
wool
changes
pulled
so
over your
much over
eyes, yeah.
time. Do you know what I mean? I think at the very start,
Mm.
you're better off just finding the product that works, and then you can change the structure later on. And you know, because you're never going to be stuck with one product really, unless you're Athletic Greens.
Mm.
But I feel like the business changes so much over time. It is handy having a sourcing agent because then they do all the negotiation, and you can't speak Chinese,
exactly,
so well I can't.
Start in the next 20 minutes in fluent.
Yeah.
Has anyone actually been done by a supplier?
Yeah.
No.
No.
First Midnight City supplier, I got scammed like 30k. They delivered a load of shit. They went black. Couldn't sell it. I had to restart the brand 5 months later.
Wow.
How about
Did
you?
that get delivered to that office? You
Some
got loads
samples.
of you got loads of samples. I remember.
Yeah.
But
Did
yeah,
it turn green or
And
something?
then obviously Neon Beach was another fucking huge one. I've been
Yeah,
fucked in the
shit.
arse a few times. Only in business.
a good sourcing agent would like take responsibility for that. I think that's why it's good.
Yeah.
Because that's the difficulty of hopping from one to another. You never build a long.
You also want to build a bit of
relationship.
leverage with them to the point where you're a good. Like now, I'm just squeezing my pricing down on Space Goods shit because they've told me that I'm one of their biggest clients, which I shouldn't have done.
Yeah.
Mm.
So like payment terms, unit prices, everything.
Yeah.
Because I know that if I stop working with them, it's a big chunk.
There's economies of scale.
So you want to build a relationship with them, which is mutually beneficial, and sell them the vision as well. Harder to do right at the start. You got to build a bit of trust by paying them and shit. But
Yeah. But you can use that approach in every single aspect of the business.
Mm.
Like we were talking about yesterday, credit card fees and Stripe and call up, say we're doing this volume, how do we get it down?
Yeah.
Or can we get it down? Like a lot of them say yeah, like in
Yeah.
different areas. So it's worth asking.
like when I got triple points with Amex for a whole year,
Tried that. Did
Wow.
not work.
that was just by calling up.
Bastard.
I got double for 6 months.
Triple.
I got fuck
I had the
all.
most in the UK,
Oh,
apparently.
How
It's
much?
like a folklore. I had like 15 million points at one point.
15 mil.
That was in the account at one time. I earned more than
15 mil.
Yeah.
That's ridiculous.
What the?
that. I've got a screenshot of 11 mil. I never screenshotted after that.
That's
Wow.
mad.
Give
I
me,
just wish
give
it was
me-
pounds, not points.
give me a year.
Yeah. Exactly.
No.
Next question. I mean, there's loads. These are probably a bit random. They can maybe have more structure between them. I'm chopping and changing.
15 mil points. What the? Sorry.
I swear on my life, I'm not exaggerating.
To
for
put it
one
into
tiny
perspective,
second.
a first class to Dubai is 100k points most of the time.
Mm.
So
Mm.
that's
I don't really get
That's
points.
silly,
150 flights to Dubai.
Yeah.
Is it?
Yeah.
Yeah, fuck.
yeah.
Because only stuff I can put on Amex is just like software. It's like a
Really?
people business, isn't it? So
You need to start that brand, mate.
I know, yeah.
That's the only reason I started a brand again, is to get points.
Yeah. Well, we're saying I'm going to start buying them off Adam.
It's not even, points aren't even worth that much. Like,
Nah,
it's
they're
really not as valuable as you
They're
think
not.
when you actually break it down.
Yeah.
Anyway, next question. This is quite an interesting one. Biggest influences from age 16 to 24. I guess you're just saying like your youth.
Influences or influencers right now.
No, biggest influence on your life, basically in your youth that made you become who you are.
Oh shit! Can we go through all the OG names again?
Oh my god.
We're saying people, books, experiences. It's basically saying is it's
We'll
kind of
go
a broad
around. It's probably
question.
different for all of us. Like,
People, books, experiences.
Well, it's a broad question of what kind of set you off on the path. I think is what he's saying.
Oh, I mean, we're probably someone's gonna mention 4-hour work week.
I actually haven't read that.
The fuck?
Yeah.
I've not read it either.
What? Okay.
Yeah.
Jim,
You've not read it either?
I've not read it, but Jim read it.
So
no
that's
one's-
what
no
I
one's
said.
Oh
mentioned
shit!
it.
Okay,
Yeah.
4-hour work week. Yeah.
So probably not what you'd expect, but
Depeche
Goose-
Mandela
nah,
is zero
Goose-
to one.
Christian Guzman back in the day. So I used to be into fitness and shit.
Yeah.
I feel like he instilled a lot of
August
traits.
and Chris Lovato.
Yeah, Matt
Legends.
Ogus. Oh, Jew.
What about have you read MJ DeMarco's books?
No.
Millionaire Fastlane.
No. I didn't read any of that
Unscripted.
shit.
Mate,
.com secrets.
I just
That
had
was
it in
a
me.
fucking- That set me off.
I just
to be
knew when I was
fair.
12 years old I was an entrepreneur. I didn't know what I'd do.
yeah. I think it was like 14, 15. But nah, those 3 books very good. People, I'm not going to name any names because I think we've made a lot of.
Murray Edwards, 7-figure group.
Murray Edwards, yeah. Murray Edwards.
Tim
Facebook
Bird.
groups back in the day.
Fuck.
Shotgun
They were probably the
methods.
first thing that actually properly pushed me into actually doing stuff rather than thinking about it.
Yeah.
Murray
Then that
Edwards.
Singapore event in
Yeah.
September 2017, that was the classic.
Yeah.
Some big
Start
names.
of everything.
James B, Jordan Smythe, Demetrius Skardis,
How old was you when you actually
Shit.
started?
Steve Tan.
Fuck.
How old were you when you actually started?
Pretty late.
What, dropshipping?
Like just in business in
20.
general, like first
Started
business.
in business.
Yeah.
I mean,
19.
Wait, 20's not late.
it depends. It depends
like,
what
Compared
counts
to
as a
Don's
business,
Twitter,
doesn't it?
Don's have got £100,000 a month stores at 14 years old.
Yeah, but selling
Yeah,
like
but it's cap.
fucking.
Done.
Yeah. I was 19 when I started my first thing.
Mine
Probably.
was 19 as
Properly.
well.
If you don't
2000
count
I was
eBay
young.
stores, I was 16 doing that.
Yeah, it depends what you count as a business. Like, I was
Gentry
selling-
Club was 19. That was my
I was
first Shopify store.
using mum and dad's PayPal on eBay, like buying shit from DH Gate when I was like 15,
Go on
And
then, selling it on
selling on eBay.
sick.
Yeah.
I was 16.
Yeah.
Grew my first Insta page at fucking 16.
Yeah, because when I first met you, I didn't think you started that young because you went to uni and shit. I thought you were like,
Nah, but
this
that's.
guy fucking.
I went.
He's not really got it because he went to uni. He didn't.
You went to
took
uni.
long.
Yeah,
No, but
but
he finished.
So did
yeah, but
I.
you know, mate.
Oh
I,
shit!
You don't understand. I didn't do anything. Like, I don't recommend that, but I literally just did it for my mum. I'm not even
Yeah.
gonna lie. Like, I
Yeah.
didn't even do well, but I just fucking did it.
What do you get? 2-2.
Yeah, I got 2-2.
That's not even worth having.
English, like exactly. But you know, I just knew that
Yeah.
what I was doing was more important. So,
Mm.
but I did
I
my.
think it's
bit.
one of those, you know, like people talk about that analogy of like, oh, you're playing poker, you got shit hand, but you just keep you stay in the round, you keep calling the
Is-
raise
I think that the mindset is
because
that
you're like
no-
halfway in.
there's no plan B. Like if you're
Yeah.
really about it, there's
Yeah.
no plan
Yeah,
B.
yeah,
It's
yeah.
always A.
Yeah.
Like
100%. I think if you burn your bridges, like you give yourself no other option.
yeah,
I think the
You either
riskiest
die or
thing you
you
can
make it
do,
work.
which I unfortunately never did, and none of us did, is go and get like a grad job and get into the matrix.
Fuck that.
I think
Very
uni is the
nearly.
window because most people go to uni realistically. Because I went knowing I'd leave, I just went because what the fuck else you do? You
Mm.
meet girls and shit, and it's fine.
yeah. I mean,
But I think the risky thing is if I'd stuck in uni, for example, gone and got the grad job, and then before you know it, you've got rent, you've got a salary, all your
And
mates
then
aren't entrepreneurs.
the idea of
the
quitting
best
your job and
time to-
starting
to-
something is
Yeah,
the
exactly.
biggest risk in the world.
The
It's
best
like,
time
are
to
you
do it
serious?
is when you have nothing to lose, which is probably uni time or before.
Mate, I had a really, really good job like before I quit. But,
what were you doing?
So first it was marketing, and then the company actually changed into like selling to schools, which is why I ended up selling to schools. But it's a good story. So I was telling you guys the other day, and I missed this out my actual pod. But when I started my business, it was selling to schools as well. So it was because I saw this opportunity. It wasn't selling the same product, so I went down the route of starting it. They found out basically, and then got sacked and sued. And they like tried to sue me, but I was living at home and I didn't want to tell my parents anything about it. So I'd just wake up in the morning, because it was literally like gross misconduct, like literally took me downstairs, like get out.
Did 6
After
months in
working there for
prison.
4 years, like I had a really good job as well, like earning P's on commission and stuff. But yeah, I was getting ready in the morning, putting on like a suit, driving to my mate's house at 9 o'clock in the morning as if I was starting work, working from my friend's house and dealing with a solicitor and being sued for literally weeks because I knew that they were basically saying like cease and desist and like shut the business.
Yeah.
So, and I was getting advice from my brother and stuff, and he's basically saying, "Nah, just ignore it." So, yeah, so I was dealing with that, but I know that my parents' advice would be fucking hell, like just close it down, like, do you know what I mean, and get
Yeah.
scared. So
But it's risk aversion, isn't it?
yeah, until I knew it was okay, that was the only time I actually told them that I'm not, I don't even have a job anymore. And it was one morning I've come down at like 10 a.m. and they're going, "Fucking hell, why are you at work? You're gonna be late."
Yeah.
And I'm like just dressed in casual clothes. And I'm like, right, I got something to tell you.
yeah.
Basically, I'm self-employed.
Mad. Parent support is a big topic. I mean,
Do you think
Yeah.
like because you got fired from that job, that was like your burning the bridges moment, and you were like, right, shit, I'm gonna have to.
Yeah,
move
had
to work
absolutely
now.
no choice. And
Yeah.
I had 900 quid in my account as well.
Exactly.
So-
I think you have to have that.
Yeah.
It's more
Put yourself in a
hard.
position where you just can't fail. And
there's
Yeah.
definitely exceptions at the same time because there will be some people who do have a job and then quit and then do make like Huel, the founder of Huel. You know?
Yeah, he's like 45.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
So like there are definitely exceptions. It's not like a one one path.
Yeah.
And
I
that's
just
like,
find for me that
reassurance to
sort of
be-
thing works.
But
Like,
I don't
put your back against the wall.
Yeah,
and-
I agree.
I don't condone it, but I think that, you know, if you was looking to start a business, you can run a job and on the evening in your spare time start something. So there's not that risk of just quitting and starting. You can still do that, because essentially that's what I did. Like, started a fucking SaaS training company that sells mental
Yeah,
health
fair enough.
courses like on an evening. And it took me 2 weeks to
Exactly.
actually make it.
It's like what do you? It's I think if you're going home watching TV and not building something,
Going
if you
home,
wanna
watching TV, and then complaining to your mates that are building businesses or have built a
Yeah.
business. How do you do that? How do you do that? Teach me. Why don't you teach me?
Yeah.
Fucking stop watching TV
Yeah.
on the night.
And
Like,
I don't want to be like Molly
stop getting
Mays, so it's
smashed
like
every
you've got
weekend,
the
eating
same
shit.
24 hours and get cancelled. But like,
yeah.
if you're chilling, you've got time to be doing stuff. Like I was
Exactly.
fucking still like staying up for like 3 a.m., 4 a.m.,
Exactly.
going to bed, back to work at 9 a.m. Granted, I didn't have kids and all this kind of shit, but there's still going to be time. You put the kids to bed at 9, right? You got them 3 hours. You want to chill and say like, oh, I need my rest and stuff. But if you're really about it,
Yeah,
then
that's it. It's just
fucking grind the time,
priorities.
yeah.
Everyone's got the time. It's just priorities.
No
Yeah.
such thing as don't have time.
No.
It's just you don't have
Sleep an
priority.
hour
Mm.
less or something. I don't know.
yeah.
Not my problem. Figure it
Yeah.
out
If
yourself.
the girls tells you shouldn't have time, focus on yourself. Focus on yourself, King.
Yeah. But like coming here gives you context. Like there's fucking these Gojek drivers that they're hustling, but they're asleep like at the side of the road on the ped, waiting for someone to tap them on the shoulder, get a job, and fucking go again.
Yeah,
Like,
and there's people at home
seeing the
complaining.
hustle, yeah.
yeah.
Do you know what I
it's-
mean? Like you don't actually know how lucky you are.
yeah,
Yeah.
for sure.
Next question, it's one I get asked all the fucking time, but I'll get your take on it. You're probably the same answer. How to connect and network with like-minded others when you're getting started? Probably the single most question ever, most common question.
I
ever get on
honestly
the pod.
think it's going to be very difficult. The people they want to connect with are probably people that they can get advice from and learn from, a few steps ahead of them. And I think it's going to be very difficult to actually get quality time with that sort of person without having built something substantial, or you've achieved just something that you actually are open to talking about. And most people asking this question are probably drop shippers or something like that. They don't want to reveal what they're working on.
No shippers.
Yeah.
No shippers. You can fuck off. Stop listening.
Yeah.
Unsubscribe. I'm joking. Matt needs the figures.
Yeah.
But I think, yeah, you need to have done something that person's going to be like,
Yeah.
oh, actually, this kid's switched on.
But if you do want advice, I'd say just ask a question, right? Don't
Yeah.
try and like message me, because you're just gonna think, who's this geezer?
Yeah.
But
Yeah.
if you do want to ask somebody a question, just ask it.
Or just listen to every
But be
single episode of the pod.
transparent and honest about
Yeah,
Mhm.
what you're working on.
yeah.
Like,
But like, don't message me saying, "Can I take you out for a beer?" Like, what, £3 beer, and I'll give you 3 hours of my life. No.
There's like 3 kind of different categories of how you can build a good network. I think one, as you said, earn your stripes, because naturally it's actually crazy how as you level up, just you find yourself in the same rooms as people who are on a similar level to you. So you'll always like navigate towards like people who are doing similar numbers or whatever. And there's going to be one guy in that group who's always like the big dog, and everyone's, and then that big dog just gets bigger and bigger. Like there's always a bigger fish. That's one side. I think paying for relationships has been like a crazy way of meeting new people. Like whether it's consulting calls to a degree, or like, yeah, I suppose the mentor angle. I hate saying mentor, because inevitably these guys become mates. If you're a normal guy,
Yeah,
you will be friends with these guys,
yeah,
and then they obviously open up their black book of people they know, and because
Mm.
you're a normal guy, like you're friends with everyone,
I think when you meet people as well, like, big piece of advice is just don't be a dick rider.
Yeah,
Like, just literally be a normal bloke. Like,
yeah.
do you know what I mean? Don't
Yeah,
straight away ask them like about the business or like about money
tell
or
them how
anything
cool
like
they
that.
are,
Just
shit like that.
fucking have a normal conversation with them and just be a geezer, and then they're gonna respect you more. Like, as soon as
Yeah.
you start like being a fanboy or a dick rider, in
Yeah.
their head you're a fan. Do you know what I mean? So
Matt.
I think publicly ask questions on Twitter as well, because I
Yeah.
don't really reply to DMs as much, mainly because of the thing you said. It's just don't know. It's just it's silly questions. Like when you can Google something, it's like, I don't want to reply to that shit. But when you reply to, so if for example most of the shit that people reply to on your tweets, for example, you'll reply to them. It's kind of rude
Yeah.
not to, like they've made an effort to interact with your shit.
Mm.
You're gonna reply. So I'd say that's quite a good way of.
that's like the fucking CEO of Shopify replied to
Yeah.
my tweet the other day.
Yeah,
Do you know what I mean? Like, billionaire worth like 13 bill or something stupid.
Yeah.
What was the tweet about?
So Shopify should send out awards like ClickFunnels.
Oh,
So
yeah.
if you
See,
do like 10 mil every year,
yeah.
just ping out the award.
But I'm not sure. I mean, I love the
Did you say
idea.
do it?
I love the
Huh?
idea.
Did it say do it?
It said stay tuned.
Really sick. can we backdate 100?
Yeah. 100 mil club.
I love the idea, but I think obviously the ClickFunnels thing. I've
Yeah.
spoken to people on Twitter about this before. The ClickFunnels thing. I feel like they do that because ClickFunnels, like half people using ClickFunnels.
That's how
are
I
selling
found out.
ClickFunnels.
That's actually how I found out about
Yeah.
ClickFunnels. Some
Through
guy like
awards,
flexing
exactly.
on
It's
TikTok.
ultimate
Like, some
pyramid
fucking-
scheme.
it's like the
Yeah.
reason
Yeah.
I do awards is because it's fucking cool to share awards
yeah.
on social media that says how much money I've made. Look at me. Shit, he did that using ClickFunnels.
Yeah.
I'm gonna use
Russell
ClickFunnels.
Brunson's a genius. To be
Oh,
fair.
yeah.
It's
I
fucking-
feel like, so this is a question, do you think, so obviously everybody can fake a screenshot, right? And everyone can put it on Twitter. You can't, do you think people start faking awards or taking pictures of someone
my
else's
next
award?
business.
and
That's
put
my
that
next
on
business
Twitter?
idea.
harder, but yeah, don't know what to believe on Twitter nowadays.
People fucking go so hard. Like there's websites you can put a thing in and be like
Mm.
revenue, AOV, conversion rate, like, and just create fake Shopify screenshots. It's
Just
horrendous.
do inspect element. Yeah.
But I was saying what I might do is basically do the website that does this, save all the data, and then expose all the people who have done it in the course of like the last year.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean? Just
Jordan
do it,
the
build,
bounty hunter.
Send
Yeah.
it to
Build-
Coffeezilla.
build it for 2 years in secret, and then just leak everybody.
That'd be hilarious.
So funny, wasn't it?
That'd be sick. Well, it won't be sick, but
Yeah.
it'd be an easy cleanup
I'll
job.
be sick for the cappers.
Yeah. Watch out, Jordan Hill's coming.
Yeah, I'm coming. No cap on my watch.
How do you get over imposter syndrome when starting? I think it's a similar sort of question.
I think you can, I still get it now and again.
Yeah, so
Like, it's just a thing you deal with. Then you remind yourself what you have done. You're like, actually, I'm pretty good. Just not maybe as good as the people
Yeah.
I keep comparing myself to, and that's probably why I'm feeling imposter syndrome.
And then a lot of people they compare themselves to, particularly now, even more than the past, is just fucking frauds.
Yeah.
Like the amount of dons on Twitter, particularly like money Twitter, that
Mm.
as a general rule of thumb, I think if someone flexes their money on numbers, they're probably lying about all of it. Otherwise, why would they be? Rich people don't share their bank account balance. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
I've literally seen certain dons, naming no names, share receipts of beach clubs
Yeah.
to show how much money
I
they
see,
spent.
yeah.
And the one I'm thinking of didn't even pay for that because I heard the story behind that,
Really?
which I'm not
Yeah.
going to expose. That would probably ruin their career.
It's-
But
Well, I feel like I'm a little bit of a victim of it, to be honest. But like, do you know when you go on Twitter, I think fuck me, my agents are shit. Like, because all these
But-
other people are flexing
They're
this
just
stuff.
lying.
and
It's,
then
it's
all
really
lies.
like so Matt had that thing like a few weeks ago, and you were like, "Fucking hell!" Like I'm shit, I'm clueless because you were looking at all these screenshots. It was probably just
Yeah.
after Black Friday. It's like, turns out half of them are fucking fake, or
yeah.
No
there's no
shit.
context as to how that ROAS is so big and shit
Yeah.
like that.
yeah.
I think it depends how you consume that info though. It's like if you use it to motivate instead of to like belittle you, you know, you can choose
Mm.
how you take
It's
it.
the message behind it.
Mm.
Yeah, because
Yeah.
I just think of it as like there's always a bigger fish. That's why you don't posting
also
numbers is
Posting numbers is like Naval's like status game, like the status game. To one up yourself, you have to minus one someone else. You post in a
Yeah.
screenshot because you want to make people feel bad, and that's going to make you feel good and
Yeah.
better than them. It's
Yeah.
like,
I
But
feel
then
like it,
the ironic thing is, you post a screenshot, and there's some guy who's running a fucking 100 mil company, and he looks
Yeah.
at it and he's like, "What a knob," you know?
Yeah,
it's just
legit.
like you don't need to post numbers
Yeah.
unless you're flogging a course, I guess. Like,
yeah.
don't know.
real G's keep everything secret, mate.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's also a culture thing. I feel like
Yeah.
UK guys don't do it.
Very
I
American.
feel like
Oh,
if you're
It's
gonna,
all poppy syndrome, innit? But
Yeah.
I feel like the most genuine people who do share the numbers, they're also sharing the downfalls as well. So they're not just
True.
posting the
Yeah.
highlight reel. It's also fucking I've had this issue.
Very true.
Like so you can see that they're not just like you just think that these people are just
yeah,
like,
on that actually.
incredible.
you do that.
So I retweeted my last year's tweet from the 1st of January saying I'd achieved some of the goals, hadn't achieved the others. Some fucking like school shooter spec on with a face like a fucking murderer, like
School
definition
shooter
of
spec.
physiognomy. Just replies like, "Stop sucking your own dick" or some bullshit. I was like, bruv, if you watched any of my shit, my entire content angle is I'm like arguably the most authentic person in the fucking ecom space. And like the reason I retweeted it was like I was fucking depressed out my ass and 2 stone heavier, and I've achieved that goal. He saw it as like me gloating, even though it wasn't even a big number. I said we'd done over 1 million in the first year because
Yeah.
I've written that tweet a year ago. It wasn't like
Yeah.
I was just randomly sharing a screenshot of some fucking don in his mum's basement
yeah, I mean, there's all.
that
Was
looks
he,
like
was he
he's in
anon?
Slytherin.
Oh, he wasn't. He wasn't
He,
anonymous.
he was like, he shouldn't have even had a picture. It was odd. Like school shooter spec, but
Yeah.
I just there's always someone that's got a fucking negative angle on that. But that pissed me off.
can't please everyone.
No. You don't have the money or investors, but you have a vision for a brand, what to do.
Work,
Skills.
Yeah.
work.
You can't. You're not going to be able to raise money.
What else?
Yeah.
I mean, they know the answer to that question.
Get skills, bruv.
Yeah, skill. That's
Yeah.
literally it.
Actually, to start something, probably a dropshipping store.
That's
When you look at when you actually think back of like where we are now, how we got there, it all started with learning one skill, and
Yeah.
then that butterfly effect to get it. Literally
Yeah.
got us here. You don't start with no skill. You don't start something big without.
Yeah, so
skill
like it is a butterfly effect because
Yeah.
like when I started my first brand, that was I needed to make a website and I need to learn Illustrator and After Effects to create graphics for social. But then that got me a job in an agency, and then the agency taught me the skills to basically run a business. So yeah, it just starts with skills. I'd focus on that
Yeah.
first.
I think most people like it's weird. I know Matt did you do quite a lot of graphic design and shit.
Yeah.
I did a lot of graphic design. You did a lot of graphic design.
Mm.
I
I
did
remember
as
James
well.
Beattie saying he did. You did.
Yeah, I was
bizarre.
like I was making movies and shit,
Really?
like editing
Yeah.
home videos.
Sick.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's strange.
I think Photoshop and Adobe Premiere are like the most valuable softwares I've ever learned.
Illustrator.
Because you know,
Yeah.
you just I think if you're a branding guy, like you carry that over so much to make like the perceived value aspect
think-
of making your brand look sick, and that's how you
Yeah.
get.
I think now brand is becoming more important
Yeah.
than before because it used to just be get a product, fucking create a Shopify store. They all look shit anyway, and just try and run traffic to it. But now like brand can be a key differentiator. Like there's other people that do similar stuff to you. Your brand's arguably the best, and that's why people resonate with it and like it. So that's I think now playing more of an important role than it was previously.
I also think most people that start young are creative first, business later. Whereas I find the MBA types, some of which I've got to know, the ones that like raise a load of money and start a business in their 30s, which is nothing wrong with it, it's a different angle, but they always come from like, they're a finance guy, they don't have a creative bone in their body,
So there's two different.
but it takes
things,
them
like-
longer to start.
Yeah, because I think I'm more creative like you. Yeah, because I can even do like videography and stuff like that. But that's where you get from 0 to 1, and then you struggle to do 1 to 10, for example. But those finance guys, they can't do 0 to 1 because they don't have a clue. They can
Yeah.
do 1 to 10,
Yeah, you're
where
probably
you're not
right.
involved in.
I think 0 to 1 is the easiest part, and like Jimmy said to you, like I like you've done 0 to 1, like it's the hardest bit done. It's like what?
Yeah.
But it's the most
Jim's not
risky
creative.
part because you get a
Right,
proof of concept.
yeah.
Jim's like the
so-
finance don, but when he started, he had the creative people with him and the marketing people and that kind of stuff.
Yeah.
Would you say it's easier though? Like, are you referring to the first time or the second time? Because once you've done it, it's easy because you've done it before. Do you know what I mean?
Good point.
Because I'd
Good
say
point.
the scaling
Experience
part.
breeds confidence.
Yeah,
innit?
yeah,
Mm.
like that
Yeah.
0 to 1. It's not. It's
Mm.
not easy. It's definitely like product market fit,
Yeah, I get your
like
point.
timing, and
The other interesting thing as well is we're all solo founders. Like,
Yeah.
I think that probably the killer combo is going to be somebody who's systems orientated and finance orientated with a creative person. And that's probably going to be like the killer one because the creative person is going to be the more 0 to 1. And then from 1 to 10, it's going to be the systems person.
I've done a range of different things like over the years, and probably half of them have been with other founders, and it's
Mm.
never worked out. And I think it comes down to always having an out. It's your fault we failed
Yeah.
because you didn't do this. When in reality, if it didn't get done, if I wanted it to work that well, I'd have said, you know what, fuck it, I'll just do
Yeah.
it. We can have this conversation later, but this is
Yeah.
your job. You should be doing this.
Yeah.
But I think when you do have a co-founder, I feel like there's an easy out for, like it
Mm.
didn't work because he didn't do this. When in reality, you just didn't
Yeah.
want it.
Also,
like-
it's the ideal setup not being a solo founder
100%.
and then hiring people that do the other stuff
Yeah.
rather
Yeah,
than splitting
probably.
it from day one.
Yeah,
It probably comes from fear. Like they don't want to fail on their own, so they take like joint accountability of failure. But that's the wrong. I get it, but I guess it's the wrong mindset to go in with because it's like you're accepting failure before you even start. That's
Yeah.
just in a scenario I've got in my head, like what I can imagine
Do you think
how
it's
people coming into the space might feel. But
Do you think it's better to have like a co-founder that's a friend first, and then that
No.
comes
Nah.
on to
no,
I tried that with Ollie
Really?
years ago with the clothing stuff.
yeah, ripped.
the Jim
Didn't work.
Will and
Ripped for
Craigie
me.
who started Herberth. They was all best mates.
Yeah, I think
So
it's
I
a
feel
really
like
cool
in,
story.
In some circumstances, it can work really well, but it is at the end of the day like business is separate to the mate stuff.
yeah,
Like it's having that ability to like switch off. Obviously, I've not personally done it, but then like working with friends is okay. Like literally every single person around this
Yeah.
table is a customer,
Mm.
and like there is two separate things. Like
Yeah.
it's funny because me and you like we're literally sat next to each other in Zin, messaging on Slack,
yeah,
like talking
yeah.
about work, and he's sat next to me. It's like
I did wonder, like, I'm literally
yeah.
here. Like,
Yeah, but then like it's just separating work from like fun shit.
Yeah,
Do you know what I mean?
I think the biggest no for me is the fact that you're going in with 50% equity
Yeah,
in your
you gotta
in a
make twice as
business.
much money.
Yeah, I just
Yeah.
don't see the. For me personally, I just I'm solo all the way.
Yeah.
I've done joint before, and it's not worth potential conflict in the long term.
Would you give equity away to grow further? And if so, like,
Yeah,
at what point are you gonna?
For sure, I would. I think it's great for like turbo growth, but it's also a timing thing. I think raising in this market, it's not worth it. Like I'm not.
But
gonna,
don't necessarily have to be raising and giving equity that way. You could be
like,
hiring a
see
COO
what
or a
you mean.
CMO or
see what you
something.
mean. I don't need it now.
Yeah, fair enough.
It's a timing thing, maybe in the future. But
Yeah.
next time, what about you? I mean, you've had the. So this is one of the different things about your business now is that you went in, like going fucking turbo mode from day one.
I think it's like a win-win. I get money to have experienced people help me.
Mm.
Isn't that way better than owning the whole thing? Like, and I still own way more than I
Probably
would
is,
if I had a
yeah.
co-founder.
Probably is, but I think for us, it's hard now thinking that way. 'Cause it's for you starting it and structuring it that way, way easier. But now it
We're
feels like
older,
I'm
but-
giving away something that like a big portion of what I built at this point.
How old's your thing?
3 years.
Yeah, I'm 3.
And
So
it's
it's
like-
like you've done all that.
Oh, nearly 4.
Yeah.
Shit. It's like
Only 3 years. Trying to put.
20. That'll be 4 in March,
I thought it was like 5.
2019, mate. Got the video.
What were you doing in Castleton Mill in 2018?
Not Crown and Paul.
Yeah.
Other print on demand shit.
We're in 2023 now though, so that's 4 years now.
In March. Yeah, in March it will be. That's
Oh
what I'm
right,
saying.
okay.
Yeah. But yeah, I feel like now because you built something, it's probably harder to actually sign that contract and give away that equity because it's like.
Well, it also
Yeah.
depends how fucking hefty the valuation
Because
is.
it feels like you're then buying them rather than Matt saying I'm getting paid to bring these people on.
Yeah.
I'm saying I'm paying them to come on.
I think
It's-
it's like, what do you need? Do you need the cash or do you need the value side?
Yeah.
Like, if you don't need the cash, it's probably not worth giving away.
But also at the end of the
equity.
day, it's like, okay, where do you want to take it? Here. Can I realistically get it there without that help? Probably not. How do you get that
Yeah.
help? Equity, right? Okay.
Well, it comes down to the whole like bootstrap versus not bootstrapped argument. It's not even necessarily about money, like you said. It can be like if you hired a CEO and gave him 5% invested over 5 years, for example.
Mm.
If they're the right person, that's guaranteed to be a win-win.
Yeah.
One thing you say is like, if you were given £1 million right now, what would you do with it? Like, how would you get yourself to the next stage?
Yeah, because
with
everyone
that
thinks
£1
money
million
would solve the problems.
Yes. Yeah.
Where not necessarily.
It's like if you scale too quick, you got supply chain problems. Like, it's actually kind of good to grow slow in a lot of scenarios because you actually need to learn the different stages of business. If you go too quick, you've skipped a load of the middle parts out. And I think supply chain is probably the biggest one.
How
much-
So much shit breaks.
How much cash in bank in terms of percentage do you like to have?
I think a month of revenue is rule of thumb.
Month of revenue.
That's what I've always
Would you
thought
say if
since
you
day
have more
one.
than a month of revenue in the bank, you're not?
There's obviously so many
reinvesting
variables.
enough.
Depends on the business model, but that's been my perception over the past 6 years on average
I'm
in
realising that
e-commerce.
now.
Faster going. I
I
agree.
would say
Depends
a
on the
month of
business
rev.
model as
Yeah,
well,
yeah.
Month of rev.
Month of rev, I agree.
Month of rev,
But-
cash in bank, everything else reinvested.
I mean, it completely depends on the business, doesn't it? If
It
you,
does,
If
but
you're
I
print
mean,
on demand, you
just for
probably need less.
people listening, because I think most people are
I think that's a safe
running
buffer.
dropship stores.
I think that's a safe level.
Yeah. It's because no one really thinks about that. I never thought.
And I
about
can
that.
think of a lot of examples that match that general narrative.
So I'm like really, really risk averse, but like a lot of our stuff isn't retainer work, so it's very hard to like forecast what we do. So like a majority of our revenue does just come from projects, and then like the companies do work with us month on month, but it's a lot smaller than like a huge project cash influx. So like for me, my main thing is because it's a people's business, is that people's job's safe. So I never want to risk that. So like we're close to having like a year's worth of wages.
because yeah,
yeah,
there
'cause
might
my,
be a
my
really
thought
But
is
if
just
you had no projects,
cold
what
window.
would you be paying them for? Are they getting paid anyway?
they're getting paid anyway.
What, just to sit there?
he's a good guy, man.
but there's
Yeah,
good
but I
guy.
thought they're freelancers, so they get
No,
paid
no,
for
there's
projects.
only
no?
3 freelancers, and everyone else is on wage. But it's like I think that it saves us money having a full-time person versus a freelancer because it costs us more to hire a freelancer because their freelancers
Yeah,
costs
I
always
get
loads
that.
higher.
Right. And
So-
maybe they've got another job on. Oh, I can do 10 hours this week. It's like,
Yeah. So do you know what I mean? So to have that actual security and then
True.
relationships with customers, you're not fucking flipping around freelancers. You've got to have like staff, and that's something that I did learn. But yeah, but the issue of that is you do have to think about from the cash perspective. Like how long can I keep paying these guys if everything was to stop? Like
Mm.
we have been
So you
profitable
like a
every
year?
month. Yeah, but that's just me being super risk averse, like shitting myself. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Because my
I'm starting to think about it now. It's like, how do like I've not reinvested enough. In all honesty, it's like,
I think that now.
fuck,
'cause-
should we like we need to
Just
spend
buy
this?
Eurus
How's that reinvesting? Like,
and just wrap it in rainbow dust pink.
yeah,
right. Well,
that's investing in the Nyash.
Yeah. Oh, I got a load more questions. Trying to pick out the more interesting ones. How do you get through dark moments of zero motivation?
Change the environment.
yeah.
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 Like,
Case
I
in
think
point.
actually a lot of bad habits you might pick up over a long period of time being in the same environment. I've realised this just looking back. I'll go abroad and then I'll come back and I won't have that bad habit anymore.
Yeah.
Just literally resets.
What, like
So-
vaping on a Monday morning?
Yeah, it's not a Monday, it'd be a Monday afternoon.
So
but
the
it's like, I
science,
fuck that one off.
there
Like,
is science behind this. Okay.
like no, just small things. Like I used to
Yeah.
have a Monster at lunch every day,
Yeah.
and it's like
I was
it's
doing
fucking
that.
emo spec. But
Yeah.
I quit, and it literally I would crash every day for 2 weeks
Yeah.
until it went away. Or then you go away in some I don't know Marbella for 4 days, come back and I was sweet. It's just reset.
Jordan's
in-
got the
in-
science.
I've got my good science and the story behind this.
Oh,
So
go on.
in World War II, I always get shit for
start,
the fucking
good
random
start.
stories I come out with.
Does it involve carp this time?
Yeah.
No, niche reference. But when they was doing the Vietnam War, in fact, basically all the soldiers were on opium, all the American soldiers. So instead of stopping them, the government said, well, why don't we do the world's biggest ever addiction study? So all of them were, I think it was heroin. So they're all like clinically addicted to heroin at this
Good
stage,
lord.
and it's known as like the hard drug that you can't get off.
Was
like,
it morphine? Not heroin.
heroin? I'm not sure,
Oh, right,
but
yeah.
it's supposed to be like you have it and you have it once and you're addicted. Like that's what people say.
Oh, right, yeah.
So
Snus.
basically, all of these soldiers, there's like hundreds of thousands of them, all having heroin. Okay, so when they came back,
You sure it's heroin? That sounds.
I
a bit
think it's-
hard.
Yeah.
no, it is heroin. It is heroin.
Really?
100%. I was reading about it the other day again. I put something on my Instagram story about it, but
It was science
Na-
video before bed.
90 so when they all came home, everyone was like, "Fuck, the whole American's gonna be like an epidemic, right?" Only 95% of the people never touched the drug again because their
Thought that was a
addiction
bottle of wine,
was
then.
related to their environment at the time because they was in such a depressive place and they were fighting in the war. When they came home, 95% never touched it again because their environment completely changed. They're no longer at war; they're with the family and they're just chilling.
Mm.
So only 5% ever touched the drug again. But it is true. Like every single time I've ever had like any addictions or
It's a heroin.
no, no, but like it's true. Like you were saying about Monster. Like before I came here, like I was having a Monster every morning. I did that for months.
That was a dangerous
Morning,
habit,
morning
bro.
monster.
Morning Monster. It's
Are
part
you
of my routine,
serious?
mate. I'd go to the
Fuck.
shop and buy a Monster. And I just downed that.
Jesus
And that was to make
Christ.
me feel like I had energy. Like
Yeah.
but I've come
Yeah,
here and
there's
I'm
worse things.
al natural. Do you know what I mean?
But
It's just
I
changed me.
also feel like having a vice is kind of good. Like having one vice and that's your kind of setback. It's such stupid things. Like it would be those granola yogurts for me. Like, that was my vice.
That's your vice.
I swear. Or like a grenade bar. I'd
Say
have
that.
like,
Oh, grenade
I'd have
bars
like
are
2 or
lovely.
3 in a row. I'd be like,
Yeah. But that was
but
really
that it's like, but yeah, I don't know. It's
Yeah.
just weird shit.
for me. It's like
There's always one thing that I'm
I
trying to
vape
cut.
and I was overweight, so I was like, well, instead of, and I'm losing weight now. That's like my main focus. But like, instead of fucking going cold turkey on food and vape,
On food.
well, like
Just 'cause you
overeating,
starve.
it's like
Yeah.
I'll focus on one at
You
once. 'cause
definitely
I
need
did
to
have my
cut the
vice.
vape.
Eh?
I've never seen anyone vape as much as you.
Yeah, but then it does
Tried it
curb,
the other night, it
curbs
was
your
horrible.
appetite. But I think
What
after,
did you kill your appetite?
yeah,
Oh,
like
fair
you know,
enough.
it kills it. But like
Snus
Mm.
does too,
After-
so.
after I've lost the weight, my next goal is going to be get off the vape. So it's like doing one at once. And then it's nice to have that vice. So I'm fucking after both of them. I'm probably going to be looking for something like
Yeah.
of a way to de-stress.
A way to de-stress. I reckon vape and eat loads of food, mate.
Yeah. I might just yo-yo and fall back
Yeah.
into it. Fuck. Get even bigger than before.
Right, next question. Which fucking question? Got a load left. I'm trying to pick the best ones. How much time do we have?
That's big input.
There's a lot of questions, yeah.
Was this from
Oh, I've
one?
circled certain ones.
Oh.
This is probably quite a good one. What's the number one driving factor to go from 0 to 1 million to 1 to 10 million?
Driving factor. It's so difficult. So 0 to 1, I mean, you can do that yourself, really, can't you? I think it's get a working product. Like,
It's
it's
product,
really
isn't
not.
it? Yeah.
There's no magic pill there.
How about 10 to a billion? Oh no, you're not quite there yet.
sense of billing?
No, we're sticking to 10 million.
Has there ever been times where you've hit a plateau and I think I've sold to like the max amount of customers in this country I can sell to?
And there's different
Yeah.
types of buyers. You get the impulse buyers who will buy from a shit website, and that's where most of the successful to a point drop shipping stores will get to, and then they'll realize they'll hit a plateau, then they'll quit. They'll post a YouTube video about how they made a meal, and then they'll stop. But in
Yeah.
reality, if they wanted to
Because
push,
they didn't get a single repeat purchase.
yeah, it's like, or if you want to go from 1 to above, new products, new angles,
Yeah.
better branding. It's just better everything and more of it. That's how you
Mm.
get from 1 to 10.
And then what's your thoughts on like selling to different countries?
Yeah, oh yeah,
And
that's
then
huge.
do it,
That's
yeah.
that's like another
Yeah.
growth angle. Like
I
when
think the 1 to 10 thing for me, it was figuring out exactly what activity it is that is driving the majority of the sales and do more of that and less of all the other shit. Like, we were realizing that referrals and word of mouth, because it's gifting primarily, was huge. So it was generating a sizable amount of revenue. So we were like, right, how do we increase that? It's clearly something
How
to
was you
focus
tracking
on.
that?
Do you-
Post-purchase surveys through that fairing and
Oh, yeah.
some
Okay,
other
yeah.
thing.
what affiliate app are you
I'm
using?
not using affiliates. It's literally just customers like, this is fucking sick.
Oh, so you only right. So you're finding out
Um,
post purchase. Yeah, fair.
So we were like, right, well, how do we drive more of that? Because 80-20 rule, you want to just,
Yeah,
that's the strength, right? So just make that even better strength. So we changed all our post-purchase messaging to incentivize that and encourage people to talk about it and share it and
Yeah.
add shit to your packaging that encourages people to
Yeah.
share it with someone or
Well,
refer
I
someone.
I heard there's one thing that gets 100% open rate, and that's a package.
Yeah.
When someone opens a package.
Taylor
Yeah.
Holiday, that I think it was.
Yeah.
I think
Is that
that's
it?
a fucking
Good
it's
clip.
such a
So
good
true.
quote,
It's
yeah.
why I think that's why packaging for you is iconic, isn't it? That's
Mm.
been a big driving
Yeah,
force.
that's
I'd
such.
say,
It's so
for the-
true. Like what the one thing that gets 100% open rate is
Yeah,
your,
yeah.
your product packaging. It's
Yeah.
like, well, I read that, I was like, fucking hell, he's a genius. Like,
Yeah.
yeah.
So
never
obvious,
thought
isn't it?
about that. It's
So
like,
Do you know, one of the realizations as well as you mature in the game a little bit is it's the simple shit that scales. And I look back at some of this wasn't even for the ecom, but I was doing like many chat bot sequences that would then capture an email, then you do an email flow. It's like, fucking hell, just
Yeah.
send them to one page and done. Like you don't have to overcomplicate it.
Mm.
And so yeah, the big growth is just doing the simple stuff, but a lot more of it. And you need manpower to scale that. So that's
Yeah.
when you do the hires and you get people to do more of what you were doing, but just double downing on the 20% that moves the needle.
Yeah. I think that's the same thing can relate to websites as well, to be honest. Like, don't just try and overcomplicate everything. Literally just make it simple as possible. Like the Cleans website is performing really well and there's nothing on it. Like it's just lightning fast
Prestige thing.
picture and an add to cart. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Yeah.
you can definitely overwhelm people on websites very
Yeah,
easily.
100%. I think like how much shit is
People
on,
like
on
to be
that screen.
directed and told what to do. I think.
Yeah.
What
Realise
My
is
thing
that?
is like, so it's called like visual hierarchy. So when you look at the page, what's the first thing your eyes look at? And can you like declutter it, streamline the messaging? A lot of time you land on a website, it's just so much shit and you're trying to digest it and nothing gets done properly. Whereas like it's the visual hierarchy. Where do your eyes look? Is that the correct thing? If not, then on your product page, even if it goes against your branding, make sure you add, make your add to cart like bright green, a positive color, something like that. And all these little things can add up. Like there's a lot of things about, particularly just A/B testing, like even Klaviyo pop-ups, and you can see the colors that work for your brand. Like just putting it as we've even done like shades of green, like change a shade of green, and it's increased the, form fill out rate by like 2%. It's crazy.
It works for some and not others.
Yeah.
Like it's not.
I always
the one-
battle
and
with
just
that.
so people listening, don't go change all your buttons to green straight away.
Yeah.
Like,
Yeah.
What's your thoughts on like the branding versus CRO? Because like you could do a load of shit that would make it better, but in reality, a pastel cream grey website that has a bright green or red
Yeah.
button just doesn't work. Like it just looks
Yeah.
shit. So how? I mean,
Well, that's why there's a term brand first CRO. That is a term.
brand
right,
first
brand
CRO.
first,
yeah.
yeah.
So it's just
there's
making it-
definitely a middle ground.
Yeah, it's making a decision.
It
on
depends
every-
what
on
you want.
everything,
We had
really.
this conversation last night. It's like it depends why. I mean, I'm not going to claim this conversation. It's not my idea. It's a good conversation though, and it was like, what do you actually want from the business? Like, do you want to build a brand, like represent? You want to be a George Heaton type person and be that guy that's known for having built this fucking incredible brand, or do you want to build something to sell? If you want to build something to sell, then fuck all the brand stuff off and focus on conversion rate and the income.
The easiest way to increase your conversion rate is make your product better and make it a better offer.
Yeah, that's kind of relevant to this question where Don's asking, would you sacrifice branding / perception in order for a potential? Basically, would you sacrifice brand to make more money?
Is this
Been offered a wholesale opportunity recently, but not sure it aligns with our brand.
Right,
Blah,
I
blah.
can't answer
see
this.
what you're
I was gonna tweet a response to
But
this.
I think you also do need an element of brand to be able to sell something, because
yeah, you do. But I saw this tweet.
otherwise people would say, make the argument, well, just run a dropshipping store that prints cash.
I saw this tweet, and I think I'd recommend the guy who sent this to go read. Oh fuck, what is it? Forgot the name of it. It's like something. Shit, I can't remember the book. It's. I'll figure out the name of the book and tell you later. But got it. Something immutable laws of branding. It's like 7 immutable laws of branding. Something. It's like you don't like at our level. Everyone here in this room and the guy who tweeted that at our level, you can sacrifice that part of the branding to generate more money. Like you are not making much of an impact to your brand by doing what he's asking. Should I do? Go and do it. Like you're not Coca-Cola. You're not Louis Vuitton. Like it doesn't fucking matter at this level.
After a few months,
people aren't buying. You might think people are buying from you because of your brand.
Yeah, so there's a very good story about this one. So it's actually Manscaped, and I watched. It's in the Shark Tank pitch, but basically I think they had 2,000 units, and they were this super like men's grooming, old schooly branding, and then they couldn't sell the units, so they thought, fuck this, we're just gonna throw that like brand in the bin, and they were like, we'll just be funny and like just do whatever we can to try and sell these units. They ran that advert, and it's the iconic advert in the shower. Loads of anecdotes about like your balls and stuff.
I mean, they spent 50k on that first angle. I heard. Because I listened to the same thing, but
they went on Shark Tank originally.
Yeah. And then on that, it wasn't originally. This was like just further down the line, but on that second ad, I think they sold out within 14 days. All the units.
Yeah,
and that's because they made a decision to
just because they were funny.
Let's not be too cute and like let's just not be too arsed about the branding.
Yeah,
let's just make some money because it's going to die either way.
They didn't have a brand because they're not selling anything.
Yeah.
It's
kind of the basics. I mean, it's product market fit. Like, try multiple angles if you first start with a product, see what works, and then double down.
Yeah.
Like,
but to answer that question, just I'd do
but it's genius though, because when I saw Manscaped, I was like, fucking hell, it's actually really simple. Like, why didn't I think of that? But there's so many copies of Manscaped now as well.
Yeah.
But then sometimes you do come across brands, and you're like, how the fuck do they do that revenue?
You know, when most people say brand, they really just mean visual aesthetic. That's where it starts. Because like when I say I'm good at branding, what I actually mean is making it look pretty.
Yeah.
Consistent.
Because like Space Goods when I say brand, it's just I'm referring to it's pink and it has an 80s vibe.
Yeah, I agree.
It's identity.
That's the visual identity. You can't have a brand when you're 9 months old. Brand is how people feel about it, and that takes years. Like Represent's a good example. Gymshark's probably another good one.
I think
where it's
one
like
person
emotional.
who's not around this table that could have been around the table who actually has like an actual brand.
What, Fred?
Yeah. Like
but even he says he's the one that had the conversation.
Yeah.
Saying just fucking sell
well,
more.
So
he's pivoting away from that.
Perspective, but I think that his community is so good.
Yeah.
But that's what I mean. It takes longer to build that. So when I'm referring to brand, I really just mean
the visual identity. And
like that's all it is now. Although long term,
you can't shortcut that either.
Yeah.
It's so,
like a logo is just a logo, like the Nike one, which is arguably like the biggest brand, like that people feel about. Like, just do it. That was literally 200 quid, and they paid a random designer to do it, and then they made the brand around it. Do you know what I mean?
I think the wholesale thing is not going to affect brand. At all.
Yeah, I agree.
You got to be doing.
If you don't try,
you got to be some like huge household name almost to be worried about. Oh, it's going to affect brand perception if I do wholesale.
I wouldn't even be the brand side. I wouldn't even be worrying about. It'd be more like, what are the payment terms and what are the logistics like? Because if that causes more hassle than it's worth, then that would be the determining factor to not do it. Not the brand side.
Yeah, it's an interesting debate that. Probably go on for so long about that.
They're buying the product.
It's wholesale for you is a completely different story, isn't it? That's
Yeah, I'd like to do retail and so on, like new channels and shit. I've always thought about building a brand as just on the website, but now I'm looking at it differently, like Amazon, retail.
Yeah. Well, they say that when you do start an e-com brand, that if you think that it might be a product that might go into B2B, to actually build the margin into it, because certain retailers will want a certain amount of margin. But there's like a client that I work with at the moment, they make a very small amount of margin, and then now they want to go into B2B. Like, fuck, it's impossible because we're so cheap on our website, so actually have to increase the price.
Friend of mine runs like a custom socks business, and does it like he probably does more B2B now than D2C. But originally it was just a little website. It was an idea they had on Sunday, and it turned out it worked. And they were making a bit of cash on the website, and then they ended up in a few different retail stores, and they probably do more from that now than they do D2C. Yeah. But the issue is they priced so low on their actual website.
Yeah.
There's no margin there to really make that much cash from.
Like if you're making 10% margin, or like even smaller,
it's not worth the time.
It's going to be hard for you,
especially when this is custom stuff. So you have to actually make it.
Yeah.
No way.
Yeah.
So yeah, good point.
I've got plenty of margin for that.
Yeah.
Good.
Like
and
90%.
do you think the cost? So in terms of like actually acquiring a customer in a store, so somebody's walked past your product, let's say in Holland and Barrett, they're looking for a mushroom supplement. Do you think the cost is going to be at £50 quite expensive for them, and that'll struggle? Because it is £50 is a lot of money.
What's 13 on it?
Depends what store it is, doesn't it?
Yeah.
Stick it in Boots, no chance.
I'm speaking to Holland and Barrett now. I reckon we'll get it in there.
Stick it in Waitrose, Holland and Barrett. You got way more chance than Boots and Morrison's.
Yeah, but I think it is interesting because you've not got that. It's just a package on a shelf, so there's a lot more that goes into the appeal of that. And like people consider price a lot more than you've run an ad. They clicked on the website. You've got all this fancy information on there.
Yeah.
They've not got that experience. It's just a product with a price on the shelf.
You have to have like a hologram of you in like pink, just explaining the product.
Or just have a screen playing the movie.
On repeat. Fuck, that'd be sick.
You could do some wavy fucking shit. Have like a vending machine with a new flavour called LSD.
It was like JML.
Lemon,
That'll
sugar,
go down well,
digestibles. Do it as that's off the top of my head there.
It was JML that used to have that, like, do you know, in Asda? It'd be like a new product that they've released. It'll have a TV at the top. Probably something that you could do just run the movie on there. It'd be sick.
Yeah, that would be cool. Like, get attention for sure.
Yeah, 100%. In the shop window and holding the back.
Yours is very guerrilla marketing friendly, I'd say.
I need to do that 8-meter mushroom in Hyde Park.
You're just giving all your competitors that idea, so do it.
They're not going to do it. They're all pussies. All fucking Southwest London, daddy's money. Referring to one of my competitors.
Chip on his shoulder.
Yeah, I do.
Might do.
Second home in the Cotswolds. All right, final few questions. How long do we have, by the way? Quick pause. All right, yeah, cool, fine, perfect. Still rolling? All right, next question. This is another interesting one, which I think is a lifelong debate. How do you best manage work/life balance as a young founder, or just a founder? But he said young founder.
What, now or like in the beginning? Because in the beginning there was no balance. It was like
Sacrifice.
I was working a hell of a lot, and I didn't think I was. Didn't go out to see my friends for an extended period of time. Parents would tell you you're working too much.
Celibate for 6 years.
Yeah, and you'd be like, fucking. But I love doing this. Like, this is my hobby. It's not a job. But there's no balance in the beginning at all.
It's a luxury that you get when you start making money.
Yeah.
There's been a good balance in Bali, I would say.
100%.
Yeah.
But like,
There's also seasons, though, isn't there? Because I did like 4 months
seasons
in the trenches in London recently. Didn't go anywhere.
Yeah.
It's too long.
Yeah. I think you've always got, as a founder, you've always got to be on standby to sacrifice everything. But that's just kind of like the responsibility you accept.
Eric Thomas, sacrifice
Who's
who
that?
you are for who you will become.
Yeah.
Yeah.
What about like
Deep.
burnout? Do you ever get burnout?
Yeah.
That's when you go away.
But I actually feel like physical illness when I get burnout.
Yeah.
Get a headache, I have to go to bed.
Can't focus.
Just fucking.
Yeah.
It's horrible.
People
think-
say like they want to try and manage it, but I can literally plot on a graph, and it's even in my revenue. Like I go in 3-month cycles, where I'll absolutely fucking hammer it. Like,
Oh my god.
it'll be every single waking hour I'll be working on evenings. And
Certainly not this week.
Yeah, I was
Yeah.
gonna say
Well, this is why I'm like
billionaire
itching.
Jordan Hill exposed.
That's why I'm itching to get home, because it's like when I get home, I'm just gonna fucking
The
grab my
cycle's
bollocks off.
started.
But then, like in 3 months
Yeah.
later, summer's gonna be starting. I'm like gonna be going to maintenance mode, not fucking super hyper growth
Maintenance
mode.
Hard
But
nation.
it's literally 3 month cycles. It's mental. And I actually had a
Yeah.
little bit of it like before you boys came out. To be honest, like December last year was like our best month.
I wonder if by saying it's 3-month cycles, you've like you've
Self-assigned to it,
yeah,
yeah.
Self-fulfilling prophecy. Sort of.
Yeah.
yeah. Because that, mate, I'm such a big believer in self-fulfilling
Yeah.
prophecies.
Yeah.
You know, you are your thoughts kind of
Do you
thing.
know what?
Yeah.
I like when I was a kid. Like my mum's friends. Apparently, I started speaking quite early. And my mum said a few times like,
2 days old. You
Yeah.
speaking French.
speaking
He said
French after like a
timber.
year.
Yeah.
But now she was like, oh
Your
my friend
first
said you're
words
gonna
were Coscat.
be. She was like,
Increase the
oh,
budget.
he's gonna be smart. Blah 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 blah.
Yeah.
And then I think I showed a very small, probably very small interest in business or money because my dad's an accountant. I'm probably like counting some change on the carpet or something. I was
Yeah.
like saving up for some.
Had his
fucking-
first store when he was 4 months old.
yeah, I was like counting up some money to go buy some sweets from the shop, and because I had some vague interest in adding up money, they probably said, "Oh, he's
Yeah.
going to go into business,"
Yeah.
and then this
Oh,
story
yeah, I
becomes
see
a
what you
thing.
mean.
It's like
Yeah, yeah.
around and around and around, and then you become that kid, and it's like they've given you an identity, and I feel
Yeah.
like I sometimes feel like I've grown up to kind of achieve that identity. That
That's
Yeah.
mad, yeah.
Do you know what's
Yeah.
funny? So
I
in
feel that.
school, we did like awards, like at the
Yeah,
end
we
of
did,
the year
yeah.
when we were in year 11. And I got voted for like first to become a millionaire after school.
I didn't get it. The
Yeah.
guy sat next to me got it. I was
Was you
fuming.
fuming?
And
Yeah.
yes, he works at
Fuming.
grad scheme PwC, does he?
He actually went to a grad scheme at an
There you
accounting
go.
firm. Yeah, Big Four.
Yeah,
Yeah,
all the same.
and I thought, not a fucking chance, mate. Watch me.
Sell their souls.
Yeah.
And then chip on my shoulder, but
Yeah.
I was so annoyed. Don't know why. It was a fucking sixth form award.
What's
What
he,
was
what's he
that?
doing now?
He's an accountant.
Grad scheme.
Yeah.
The
Yeah.
meme is true.
It's probably in the what time is it? It'll be in the office right now.
How
6 a.m. in the UK. Oh no, sorry.
It's probably in the office. Yeah, 6 a.m.
7 a.m. Something like
how many success stories came out of your town? Was it quite
One me.
really?
No, I'm joking.
This guy.
I had no idea, mate. I live in a very small village.
I suppose like from school. I mean, 'cause
From school,
yeah,
actually, I don't really keep track of people in general. Like,
yeah, fair.
not. I guess my year in school, genuinely, people have done well, but they've not like started shit. It's all they've got like really good paying, like highly paid jobs in corporate offices,
Which is
and
fine
shit.
as well. It's like
So yeah, in some people's eyes, yeah, it's fucking great, really successful. But in my
Yeah.
eyes, it's not for me. I don't see that as success because it's not my idea of success. But
I think
I
there's
can't
something.
think of honestly can't think of anything. I'm trying to think of like sports people, like musicians or something like that. But
yeah.
Well, Jack, like you were saying earlier, like I think people think, in particular my town, that I make a lot more money than I do just because I do travel.
Yeah.
Do you
the
know what I mean?
average
Like,
wage
Yeah.
in Scunthorpe is $6,000 a year.
Well, we were comparing houses like in London, what you
Yeah.
can get, what you pay 2 mil for, you get for what, like 400 grand
Yeah,
in your town.
literally,
It's
mate.
fucking
Like, but
nuts.
I think it's just the traveling thing. People think I make a ridiculous amount of money, but
Yeah.
you don't actually need that much.
Oh,
Yeah.
thought of someone. There's a guy a few years younger than me who plays cricket for England. He went to my school. That's the only one I can think of.
Your Leeds, right?
Mm.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Next question.
Oh shit! And another guy was on Strictly Come Dancing. Yeah, who went to. He
What,
was
a
like.
recent one. Oh, that actually, I
Yeah,
haven't
he's a
even- I don't
TV
watch
presenter.
it,
He has
but-
Down syndrome. His name's George. I remember he went to primary school. He was like,
There's a
way-
TV presenter with Down syndrome.
yeah, on CBBC or something. He's done really well.
All right.
It's
Yeah.
mad. But yeah, I went to the same school as him, but he's like maybe 6 years younger than me. But yeah, anyway, sorry. Continue.
trying to think of the best closing questions. It's all a bit corporate.
Get off LinkedIn.
Give the people what they want to hear.
Maybe I'll wrap up with my usual question to all of you. and
You've
put
already
me on
asked
the
us
spot.
though, me and Jordan. You asked Jack.
That was a year ago. And Jordan can think of something
That
else.
was like yesterday.
All right, yeah, I'll ask the last question then. 'Cause it's been here like 2 hours. I'll start with Jack.
Go on.
If you could give 3 bits of advice to your 18-year-old self, knowing what you know now, what would it be?
Don't spend too long learning and not doing. I spent way too long fucking reading loads of shit, writing notes, had like a whole notebook just full of notes. I just look back like, I should have spent that 50 quid on that first ad earlier. So I'd actually plotted, like I have in my notes, it's quite cool, you know, when you go in your notes, you see the date you wrote it. And it's like 2018, I wrote Adrian Morrison's dropshipping webinar. I told my dad about it, I remember this, and he was like, what's that? Nah, it's like not going to work. So, oh, yeah, that's fair. And then like 3 years later or whatever, I'm doing the same thing. It's like, should have done it 3 years before.
I might go back through my notes actually.
Yeah, it's
I've
cool.
done that, it's too deep.
Yeah.
Really?
I get like me writing out like fucking things
Message
about
just a
some
bird.
bird in like
I've got that.
2016.
I've got that. It's so bad. I like when I used to have relationships and that.
Hopeless romantic.
If I'm like emotional, I can't think straight, right? Or like I lose emotion. So what I actually do before I have a conversation with a bird, I'll write everything out, and then I'll be there with my phone, like making
A
points.
SWOT analysis of this
So
relationship. Next point.
I'd say we've kind of meant there's been sprinkles of this in the conversation we've already had, but self-fulfilling prophecy is real. Like whatever you tell yourself, you are what you become, kind of thing. Sorry, what you think is what you become. So yeah, it's all in the mind. Never have a plan B, always have a plan A. And then that's probably going to be controversial. There's going to be people who say, you know, oh, you should have a plan B just in case. But I think if that's your mentality, then this isn't the right route for you, honestly. Just controversial or not, that's how I feel.
I just thought of a good question I'm going to ask after this round to mix it up, but continue.
And then the third
Based on
one, probably just more as a just words of wisdom for running a business is you can never know nobody ever regretted knowing their numbers too well. So always audit what you have, see where you can save money, and payment terms are fucking beautiful, so work on those as well. Like have those conversations, don't be afraid to talk to people, ask questions to different people. Never take the first answer as the only answer. I'll tell you a quick backstory, and this is actually related to uni, so it's not even business related, but the uni I wanted to get into at the time, so I went to Leeds. I called up, didn't get the grades, and they said, no, sorry, you didn't get it. My mum actually made me call again, spoke to a second person, and they said, yeah, okay, you can.
Sick.
So, you know what I mean? Never, ever take the first
I had
answer.
to
as
call
the
Emirates again there, so change my
Yeah.
fucking flight, thank you very much.
So now whenever I get a no, I call again, talk to a different person. I did it with PayPal. I've
I'm
done
gonna
loads
call,
of
I'm
shit.
gonna call
So
again
true.
and say
Yeah.
my dog's in the vets and he's changed my flight, make it more emotive.
Because it's at the end of the day, you're talking to people. It's like
Yeah.
human psychology. There's going to be one person who's maybe slightly more emotional than the other. You feel like helping you more.
Yeah.
It's just the classic, like, you know, it's social engineering almost. That's
Yeah.
it.
Was that 3?
Yeah.
Right, I won't ask you that again. I'll ask a more interesting question.
Oh, I thought 3 as well. Never mind.
Oh, go on then.
Nah, too late.
All right. If you
Cliffhanger.
lost the business and every penny you have right now, but you maintained your knowledge and experience, which is what nearly happened to me,
Yeah.
what would you do tomorrow and to rebuild? So say you couldn't do the same thing again. The business is gone. You lost every penny.
What business would I build?
How would you get back to where you were as quick as possible? And what would you do?
Probably start what I've been working on this week.
Oh, yeah.
But,
Juicy little idea.
Would you
Can't
need
wait
money
for
to do that though?
not much.
Yeah.
Not much.
So how would you get together direct? Say you literally went to £0.
Right. Okay.
I'm talking like literally on the streets, hypothetically.
OnlyFans.
On the street.
Well, if you lost every penny and everything.
OnlyFans.
You do OnlyFans.
OnlyFans
Won't get
manager.
any subscribers anyway.
No, I mean, surely the real answer is you'd call 5 mates and get 10 grand off each of them and fucking start something.
Well, yeah.
Then do
Yeah,
what
but-
you
If you
do.
have mates with the money, but let's
that's-
pretend you don't have
that's
the
the-
mates with the money.
Well, that's the thing, because that's,
Yeah,
that's
I'd
the value
literally-
you built.
I'd probably do what I did like the first time, which is I'd get a part-time job and save the cash and then use that cash. That's literally what I did in 2015, 16. I finished uni, and to appease my mum and dad, I got a part-time job at Next in the warehouse.
Fucking hell.
Yeah. And then I was applying for grad schemes and stuff like that, got interviews. But again, it wasn't just so they thought I was doing something. But yeah, just get a part-time job, save the cash.
All right,
Use
if you
that.
couldn't work on print on demand, and what would you do? Someone force you into a new area of e-commerce.
I mean, I do have ideas, so it would be, I have a couple interesting ideas in the pet space, but like subscription-based consumables. Not going to go into too much detail because you never know what the future might hold, but yeah, I'd definitely move into subscription.
What would you do?
Consumables.
Is this so without maintain knowledge, don't have any friends who can give me cash, can't go to VCs and raise money to start something new?
No,
can't-
the only thing you lose is the business and money. You maintain everything else, which is arguably the most valuable part.
But the most obvious one is to do what you've done and present an idea, get people
What would that idea be on the spot? You can't do what you're doing now.
to.
Is there anything that comes to mind?
Thing is, my mind is so committed to what I'm
Height
doing
adjusting
now.
hats or something.
Now, I'd
Stilts.
minus the idea, I think I would find something that's working in another country and then
Yeah.
do it in a different
Yeah.
language somewhere
Yeah.
and scale it somewhere else. Because
Mm.
that's always a fucking easy conversion, you know.
Space goods Bali.
Yeah.
That's kind of how I looked at it. I saw brands in America crushing it. There was no one over here doing it. And then
Mm.
put my own aesthetic angle on it.
Mm. Yeah, smart.
And
basically.
there's so many up and coming countries as well that I think Goldman and Sachs call it the brick
Yeah.
countries. Brazil, Russia, well not Russia anymore, but in India,
Imagine
China.
scaling cash on
countries.
delivery or some shit.
Cash on
I've
delivery.
heard guys doing that.
Yeah, that's mad.
What do you do?
Controversial, but I'll probably just do like a local business, but raise money,
Mushroom farm.
A local business like what?
like a restaurant or a cafe or just.
You said
co-working
this a few
space,
times
yeah.
this week that you want to.
Feels like your calling, boss.
Hold
Yeah.
on. I think you should do it.
Yeah, I
You
was
should
saying.
start a vape shop. Just sit there and try the flavors all day.
Yeah, probably just do like an in-person business because I think that
Jordan's
that's where
jewels.
a lot of my skills lie. Like,
Yeah.
do you know what I mean? 'Cause
Yeah.
but it's so easy to do. Well, I'm obviously I've not done it yet, but there's obviously the operation side of running it. But in terms of like getting customers, it's probably so much more easy because you're in a specific location. Just pick a busy area and just do better market than everyone else. And it's not actually that hard because a lot of business now are like owned by old geezers who don't have they just have a shit social. They don't actually
Yeah.
optimize
Like
like
Flame
I
Spa.
could not be asked.
It's got an opportunity there.
Yeah.
Flame Spa, bring that to the UK.
yeah.
There's probably reasons why it's not allowed.
Yeah,
Yeah.
a few.
Yeah, probably just do that, and then
This-
think of the next thing I'd do because
Interesting.
Yeah, fair enough.
What about
So
you?
you wouldn't do it long? Is that what you're saying?
I'll do it. Yeah, just get on my feet.
You'd start a cafe or restaurant to get on your feet.
Yeah.
What
Probably
sounds
got
Or like
some
no, I
costs
wouldn't
in
just. Do,
that.
I'd do like a sick one, like something cool. Like I don't have to think
Mate,
of it,
you're
I'd-
mad.
but yeah. But then look into doing something that would actually get me back to where I am now. But yeah,
How would you buy the cafe or restaurant?
no, just build it.
You'd, you
With zero money.
No,
Or-
that's
this
the point.
comes
I
out
have to
from-
ask for cash because whatever you do, you
Yeah.
have no fucking money, do you? So I just raise the money.
Hmm.
Because I was looking at doing it before, like literally had a whole plan and everything. I was going to do ghost kitchens.
Ghost
So
kitchens.
yeah, so it's basically that's what Mr. Beast's done. So do a Beast Burger.
Yeah.
So it's actually loads of restaurants already
yeah,
that were
heard
just
this.
struggling. He gave them a menu and then they just go on to Deliveroo and
Fucking
ship it
hell.
out.
It's quite
So that's why
rare.
there's
That
so
is
many
smart.
locations, man.
What, like a fucking like a dark page on a website? Whatever it's
No,
called.
so Ghost Kitchen's basically like on Deliveroo, if you order a Macca's, it might not
Mm.
even come from Macca's. It'll come from a unit with a kitchen and they're
They just
selling
have the
Macca's
ingredients
food.
for it.
That's insane.
That's
Yeah.
crazy. Yeah.
So in Leeds, mate, so there's like Slap and Pickle.
Yeah.
They have like loads of dark kitchens. I've been in units, like looked
Slap and
around.
Pickle
We're just
Wow.
gonna do run 3 different menus through a kitchen, but then all you have to do is acquire customers through social, like food review pages, fucking, and we're gonna get a chef to like build an actual sick menu out for us.
yeah.
We can do like some Japanese shit, and then you just have to basically work on the algorithm of Just Eat, Deliveroo, have your own social organized
good
stuff.
idea.
too.
Smart, man.
I suppose it
Do you know what
comes
I mean?
I'm a
kind of
customer.
quite an interesting thing
It's
to
just
get into.
D2C food, mate.
Yeah.
I've changed my mind anyway. I'd probably dropship prime water.
Yeah,
Better cash.
yeah. So that Wakey Wine's got banned off TikTok.
Really?
we got banned. No way.
Yeah, because he's fucking Prime have released a new energy drink can,
Oh.
and he at the end of the video was like, "And these are going for £100."
Oh.
And then he got loads of shit, so the fucking got him
Shit.
off.
What would you do, Matt?
Probably wouldn't do e-commerce again, you know. You know,
Really?
actually, I think a better remark, a closing remark, which maybe I'll make a closing remark. I wish when I was 19 I started a podcast and did it every fucking week for 7 years because it would have 5 million subscribers by now. Because I think the one thing in life is just consistency.
Yeah.
Yeah.
If you keep swinging. I think Danny Miranda or whatever, some guy that started a pod after me, and he's been way more consistent than me, and he posts about it, like the stats around podcasts, and it's a classic. Everyone starts a pod now, but they do 3 episodes.
Mm.
I think the stats around people that do more than 50 episodes, like 0.1% of those that started.
Really?
Something like that. So I'm already in like the 0.1% of consistency. Then you think about the
That's
dons that do
crazy.
500 episodes. It's like you're almost guaranteed to make it
Well,
big.
Hamosi said he was doing pods 5 years. Was it
Mm.
like There's a lesson there, you know.
So I wish I'd made more content when I was younger.
Yeah, that's a good.
Because I reckon you can never lose if you build a personal brand almost.
I've actually, I told you about this. I've got a little private Insta. I've got
Mm.
my whole since like I was 16. It's pretty lit. But
Would have been lit if you'd done it
It's cool as
unlisted
well.
on YouTube, then
Yeah, I
published
know,
everything.
never
It's
went
got a
that
date
far.
stamp.
then that's like the private, quite like the private nature of it.
You have to watch
Yeah.
it all again and make
Yeah.
sure there's nothing bad in there.
Yeah, I just don't feel the need to publicise it.
Right,
so.
any closing
Yeah.
remarks? I think we're wrapping up.
Get in touch on that works.
Huh? Oh, we're going to wrap up now in like 1 minute.
Is this one still running?
Yeah, but to get all of you, we use this camera.
So you wanna? Okay.
How far back do I need to go? How much did it miss?
Closing remarks.
Oh, are you putting a new battery in? Oh, right. Okay. Cool.
Did it literally just run out or like 5 minutes ago?
Just 2 minutes before, like when you.
Closing remarks.
That would have been
We
you.
still got these ones.
Yeah, this would have been talking.
Yeah, that's fine. Is it going? I'm finishing it now anyway.
What do you want to plug?
I was just gonna plug the agency.
Again.
I need a fucking affiliate link
Have
on
some
this
higher
shit.
quality leads this time, please.
Yeah. Any high quality leads want to get in touch?
Right, any closing remarks? We'll go around the table. Any closing remarks or where you want to send people to? I know you're a fucking agency owner, so.
Yeah. So websites thatworks.agency and follow me on Twitter and Instagram at Horden Jill.
Gordon Joe started a new niche.
Yeah. Send me a DM.
And CAC John Salvi. Started the theme of swapping the letters.
No, I'm trying to post more on Twitter and probably Insta as well. At Consalvio on all channels. My name's Jack Consalvi for reference, but Consalvio is the only out I got. Yeah, hit me up.
Probably the same. Ads read on both, but business shit, just stick to Twitter, I think.
Ads read, not ad Swede.
Ads Swede. Ads Swede. Is that
That's what
it
you
sounds
said,
like?
I think.
Ads read.
That's what it sounded like to me. Ad Swede.
You're deaf though.
We'll get,
Yeah,
we'll
yeah,
get
definitely
Brad
fair.
to add a little fucking.
Yeah, you can do all that.
Yeah.
Well, as always, subscribe to the pod. Plenty more classic episodes on the way. Stepping up the production quality out here in Bali. Cheers for watching. Subscribe as always. Catch you in the next one. Peace.
See ya.
Boom.
Boss.